60-day waiting period, like I'm buying a gun or something.
So for everyone who was gonna try to watch us on Facebook, we're sorry, but there's a 60-day waiting period.
You don't want to just go live all of a sudden. Like, you don't want to go live in the moment, right? There's nothing about wanting to broadcast something live immediately or anything like that, to show what's actually happening in the moment. So it's best when you need to broadcast live for you to wait up to 60 days.
Although I do like the 60-day thing where it's kind of like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, it's
and
like a
most
bad
people
email.
probably are like, no, I don't want to. Never mind.
Well,
I don't have the energy.
I used to tell people to actually do that because some people with tempers, that I'd work with, I would tell them to put a rule in their email that would make it hold their email for a day or 15 minutes, or depending on how big of a temper they had, because they would get angry and send emails and then be like, oh, I wish I could take that back. And I was like, all right, so go in and make a rule that that it goes into another folder and then gets sent 15 minutes later. So at least you can write it, send it, but then not really send it and go back in and delete it.
That's why I'm happy I actually learned and kind of understood and could grasp English, because I do so many rewrites in emails that I usually just end up bailing and not sending it anyway. Because I'm like, the message here is just not, it's lost.
Right.
I think I'm better off not even saying anything.
Also just writing it out kind of gets it out of your system. So you write it out and then you're like, okay, that's everything I wanted to say. I don't really want to say it because then I have to do the whole thing where I react to the reaction, and I don't really want. That's just so much.
I wish I had this book of blank pages that had a lock on it that I could just get all that out.
some sort of gurnal or something. I don't know.
Girdle? A girdle would be fine.
No, a gurnal.
Feelings would still spill out.
Wet hot.
So we're reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. Aggie and I both saw it last night, opening night, preview night, they call it, whatever. My theater was pretty packed. How was yours? I had to sneak down into the row behind the handicap row to get space.
Mine was fine. Mine was pretty empty. But we went to a 4:20 show, and there was a 4 o'clock as well.
About to.
So it was kind of this weird sandwiched.
I went to a 5:35 showing. There were so many showings.
Yeah, I think 5:30. Yeah. So, it was still a Thursday. So I guess, some people weren't out of work yet. There was still a good amount of people. There was a guy kicking my seats. And I swear to God, John, if I wasn't in West Philly and you don't really know what's going to happen. And maybe if it was still the 90s, I was repeating the Costanza line over and over. Stop kicking the seats. We're trying to watch the movie. And if I have to tell you again, I'm going to take you outside. I'll show you what it's like.
And if you think I'm joking, just try me. Just try me. Because I would love it.
And then everyone claps.
I think I did half of that speech to somebody, but it was in a car and he was being mean to a taxi driver. So it still sort of had the same effect, and people kind of thought I was being serious. And I was like, oh, no one here knows what I'm doing. So I cut it short.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to do it for real, in a theater. That's the dream, Jerry.
But I just pictured in my head that he was just a fat guy. And
so he was accidentally bumping your chair. He wasn't
accidentally constantly though. So it was just oh
man. I had a guy that got up and went to the bathroom at least 4 times, and every time he came back, it took all his energy to get up the steps. I was like, something sucks. He looked like he was our age.
Yeah,
but not right.
Let it go. I think I might have just been on edge too. I think there's too much pressure when I go to see a movie now, because I'm like, all right, I'm relaxed. I want to, because there haven't been many movies where I've fallen into the movie, where I've,
it's tough.
Enjoyed it, where I'm not like, okay, how did they direct this? And who's
of course,
in it? And all this stuff.
Yeah, my dad always asks me what I think about movies, because he's like, I want to see, because you usually watch movies a little differently than most people. like after Top Gun Maverick, and he was so excited. He's like, "Did you like it?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm not going to get into everything that I thought, but yes, I enjoyed it.
It's
And I
so
just
hard
left it at
because
that.
if somebody asks you, "Oh, did you like that?" And you didn't. We were out to dinner with people the other night, and they were talking about some, I forget what they were talking about, but it was like some show, and I know in the back of my head I'm like, "Nah, I don't. I hated that show. I hated it with a passion." It was probably like they were probably talking about Star Wars or something, and I was just like, "No, no, it's terrible. What are you talking about?" But it's so like then you start feeling like you're just a raving critic,
Right. Yeah,
and
you're the
and maybe
guy
you're
that.
just Mr. Debbie Downer or something. Yeah.
Well, that's how I felt after Spider-Man. I was like, or No Way Home. I was like, it was neat, but it just did not. It was not a well-made movie. Like it wasn't put together well. I felt like they
Yeah.
duct taped it together. I like saw the strings, and that's just what I have always said, and it's always been like that. So
Yeah.
you're right. It's tough to completely uh, be consumed by a movie where you kind of forget you're watching a movie.
And especially, well, I mean, I think with that movie and even this one, you kind of give some credit to the fact of keeping things under wraps and allowing people to be sort of surprised, like during the movie.
Oh my god,
So,
dude! It was
so
like the first Marvel movie in so many years where I knew none of those cameos.
really,
I was surprised by all of them. It was so much fun. Like, dude, I mean, okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine.
we're
Because
going
I'm just
full
gonna,
spoilers. We're
yeah,
spoiling everything. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we're
Spoiler
going
alert.
full.
If you haven't seen it, just pause us now, go see it tonight, and then come back and watch us. Uh, and I forget what I was gonna say, but
I'll put you know what? I'll be nice.
Wesley Snipes.
I'll be nice. I'll come in and I'll put a timestamp that you can jump to after we're done talking about it. So
And
that'll be nice. So if
and
you want to skip it and you don't want to hear this part, just jump to
and
the
to be
time code.
fair,
But
at Comic-Con today, apparently the whole cast was on the stage, including the person I'm about to talk about. But I do like that little banner there. When Wesley Snipes came in, man, I made a noise. I was like, "What?" Like, first of all, the actor hasn't been in anything in forever, and they're trying to make a new Blade, and they've had to like fire 3 directors. Like, it's a mess.
yeah,
So for him to show up and the music that hit when he walked in was so good.
yeah, that was
And I've
so
never
good.
seen Blade.
What?
I've never seen Blade.
You've never seen Blade? Any of them?
Listen, Blade came out
Because
in that
Deadpool's
stage
in
where I
the
was like,
third
they
one.
can't
Like
do it. I know.
like
Is he Deadpool?
he's Wade Wilson,
Oh, right.
and he's
I thought
Ryan
he,
Reynolds. It's Ryan
yeah,
Reynolds.
with like a
So
beard.
oh man, yeah.
But yeah, I've never seen it. It came out at a time when I thought all comic book movies just stunk.
Oh
And it was
sure,
actually the
but
first new kind of
but
good one.
my God, the Blades still stand up. Like one thing I compared to, I think it was like 2008 when Avatar came out, and I was watching Avatar and just at home when it first got released for home video, and I was watching it at home, and I was like, this is terrible. Like this CGI is horrible. Like you can see the lines, you can see like floating heads, like things just look so bad on it. And I went back and watched Blade
It
and even
moved weird.
Blade 2, and I'm like, how is Blade 2 better than Avatar? I mean, it's goofy. It's still a little goofy, but it was still better. Like even like the full CGI face from God knows how many years ago, looked better just because they did it subtly and they did it only when they needed to. It wasn't
Right,
like
right. They used it
the whole
correctly. They
movie.
used it. It's like James Gunn as a director. He only uses actors in like certain little ways so that they don't like look foolish. Uh,
But my experience though, when Blade came out, there was two problems. One was there was a huge comic book nerd 3 or 4 rows directly behind me, and he was, for lack of a better word, ejaculating. Like he was like, God,
oh, for lack
I'm
of
like,
a
what
better
is
word,
happening? Like,
many
I,
better words.
and then I don't know what other word to say because that's what it sounded like. And then there were these girls over here who had no idea what was going on, to like
The
behind me to the
volcanic
left.
ash of
And so
Pompeii.
then they just joined in with screaming. They just joined in with like "Ah!" like full shrieking scream where you had to like kind of cover your ear. And I was like, oh
Like
man.
with
So
him, or they were just also very
they
into
were
it?
mocking. They were mocking the
Oh, no
excitement.
way.
Yeah. So they were just they thought it was funny to mock the excitement. So I got rattled in that moment, but I still it was such a good moment that I overcame that, soon after.
Wow,
But
I
he looked
really
awesome.
I
And I
wanna
liked how he was
go.
like, "There's only one blade." I was
I
like,
know, and Deadpool
"Whoa,"
was like,
because Wesley Snipes is like crazy about it. Like he's like,
apparently
he
it was a
like
big
hates
headache
people and stuff.
in the third one. He would, like, talk to the director with notes. He would pass notes to the director during the third one.
Yeah, he was like very
Um,
protective. I don't know
one
if
of
he was
my
protective of
favorite
the comic book, but protective of whatever he was doing. Good. Sorry.
one of my favorite parts or segments, that's what this movie did so well. It was, like, such a balance of, like, these I'm just gonna like throw out a number, like 10 to 12 minute like parts of the movie that were so cool.
Yeah.
Like whatever was going on, other than the damn dog. I was so
Why?
tired of the
You didn't
dog
like the
after
dog?
2 seconds. I was just over his long tongue and his shoes. It was just enough. And the slow
I
motion running
I have
was a
to I have
time
to
killer.
disagree. I have to disagree. I thought I don't like a long joke, but I felt like there was such commitment to that long joke and the grossness of it and the fact that it was really happening. Like that he was just talking through it and it's just like that cuz for me,
I couldn't hear what he was saying.
I feel like it was just it was like a joke on top of a joke. Like he knew everyone's reacting to this, so he's like
Yeah, he even did
I
like
have
a
to do it.
Chevy Chase, like, oh, at the
Yeah.
end. At the very end, looks at the camera. Oh, back to the dog. Like he was like, I know it's ridiculous. Dude, the one part where he turns around to the camera and goes, home stretch, folks, I promise.
Yeah.
And he said it, dude, right when I was like, I wonder where we are in this movie. Like, because I never look at the clock.
Kelly said the same thing. She's like, when he said that, that's exact. I'm like, oh my god, how many more dejangle things do we have to do for the end of this movie?
It
And yeah,
so it started off cool. I mean, the way that he digs up Logan and it's the adamantium skeleton, and then he uses that as a weapon was so funny.
yeah,
And that he does it to the song Bye Bye Bye. And it hit cut in between him killing these people are him doing the in sync moves.
like
Is
like
so
it's a music video. Yeah,
unbelievable. It was so hard for me to sit still watching it in the movie theater by myself.
it was
You know what I
so
mean?
awesome. Yeah,
I was like, I can't believe this fucking guy. Like every time he's just a really smart dude making movies. And the the TVA stuff was cool because it was like a guy that was not really following the, he's like, you're off grid. He
right.
was kind
Yeah,
of like up to his own thing.
I
Because I was
was
like,
having a
why
little
are they
trouble.
doing
I
that?
was having a little trouble understanding what his goal was. Maybe because it like a lot of his exposition was kind of just spewing out of his mouth fairly quickly.
Here's
And
this. Here are the
God,
things that I think about when I see people that are walking into the theater, watching the movie that I'm watching, and there's parts of a movie happening where I'm seeing these people and I'm going, they're about to walk out because I'm almost confused. And
yeah,
like there's like hot girls, young like girls walking in with their boy, their fanboy friends, and I'm like, because the beginning when he's explaining what he wants him to do, and then he's like, it's simple. You do this or you do this. And I'm like, I am lost.
yeah.
I'm
It's
like,
the end
how
of
is
your
this happening?
timeline, and it's getting erased backwards, but slowly, and it'll
Yeah.
take 2,000 years, and then I'm like,
I was
so he's trying to save it, or
I
we're
was
ending
getting
it, and he's
really
jumping.
angry. I
I
was
also
like,
think the two Earths because he was on 616, like he traveled to 616, and then he went back, and his was in 1,000 something. Like I was just kind of or that was another branch for him going
that was
back with.
another one.
But was that because he went back and changed stuff with uh what's his name? Like the Chronos
Yeah,
wristwatch
yeah,
thing?
yeah. Like he used that to go talk to Favreau or to Happy.
Yeah, but how
Uh,
does that get him there? That's the part I don't get. Like he didn't have a sling ring then, he just had time travel.
oh, I thought Cable's thing jumped dimensions or whatever. I
No,
might
I
have just
think I think
jumped
that just did
time.
time travel. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
but whatever. It's
I don't know.
I, I got thrown at that part where all of a sudden we were in the 1005 Earth or something, and I was like, okay, so is this? I thought maybe it was a different Deadpool, and so I was trying to like readjust my brain to be like, all right, so this Deadpool has everyone still alive on his team, because I was trying to remember him like saving everybody in the first movie. I didn't know if like we were there or what was happening.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
Like because
know.
now
Yeah,
we're in multiverse and time, and it's
that's why I was like, okay, I get why they're in the void.
I thought there
A lot of this.
I thought the Deadpool that was interviewing with Happy was going to meet the Deadpool that stapled the toupee to his head. I thought that's why
Oh,
they I thought that's why they stapled the toupee to his head so that we could tell them apart. So one would have staples in his head
oh,
and the other one wouldn't, and we'd know which one's which by looking at that.
oh man,
So I thought there was going to be
that's
some sort
so
of
funny.
conflict where there was going to be like a Deadpool and a Wolverine and a Deadpool and a Wolverine that like show up at the end and try to
Oh,
like figure things out. Which
huh.
I mean sort of happens, I guess, in a
Dude,
way.
when he's trying to find Wolverine and he goes to all the different
That was great.
comic book covers, dude, like the one with all the red skulls, and he's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "What the hell's going on?" And then the one where he sees the Hulk, I couldn't believe it, dude. It like
Are you okay?
I
Isn't
like
this the one where you fight the Hulk?
I like saw it, and then like the thought in my head, I heard Deadpool saying, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's when he fights," and then he says it, and Hulk's right there, and he says the Loki line.
Yeah.
That all those different scenes, and then Henry Cavill, that was
Oh, that's where
insane.
the guy behind me lost it on that one. He was like, I'm like, whoa, dude.
He's like, the
Whoa.
legends are true. We'll treat you better than those shitheads down the street.
Yeah.
And then he ran
Oh,
after
and
him like
did you
that was crazy.
see what Henry Cavill did too? He did the thing like from Mission Impossible,
Oh, did he?
where he loaded up his arms, where he cocked his arms. But
Oh,
when he did it,
gee.
his blades came out, so he was like,
Oh my
it was awesome.
god! I
It was
didn't
like a
see
three
that.
movie like confetti, like
Yeah, that was it was so meta. There was so much meta-ness
it was
to it, which is
incredibly meta
obviously
that part. It was
what to
like
expect.
Superman dressed as Wolverine, playing a different Wolverine, and also the guy from Mission Impossible.
Yeah, right. That like became a meme
Oh my
because
god.
it's so cool that you cock your arm before you punch someone like it's a gun. So good.
He did that by accident too, which is so funny, and then
He
everyone
said
just
his
loved it.
arms were so stiff
Right.
that like he was like, I can't punch. And he was trying to like loosen it up,
Yeah.
which is so funny.
It
It's like
became the
such
perfect
a
free fight.
uh, that's such like a muscle guy thing to say.
So
That, you know.
did you see that there was an overall arching theme that I think was actually referenced in an earlier in like Deadpool 2 or something like that. But I think it's not the whole movie, but I think parts of it are based completely on this. It's based on
Um,
another movie. It's based on another movie. It's
oh,
based on another.
I don't know. Planes. I was gonna say it, and I wasn't even looking at you. I was like, "Is it sort of planes, trains? Like, get away from me!" And then, oh my god, you're gonna
Yeah,
you're my only
because
friend.
the car is actually in it.
Oh
The
yeah,
car
that's
from Planes,
right.
Trains, and Automobiles is in the void, along with the trunk,
Oh,
like off in the background. And I that made me almost jump out of my skin because I was like, "Oh my god, the thing's there."
I
And then
remember seeing the car and being like, "That's just a car." They usually have
no,
like ships and like
it was
helicopters.
the green, and it was all like on fire, like charred all
Oh,
on the top, and the trunk was
oh,
sitting there. Because I think because in the Deadpool 2, he pointed out that it's like he's like, this isn't going to be a John Hughes movie, good feeling type thing, right?
oh,
But then
right,
in
yeah.
this one, it's kind of like a buddy trip where they don't like each other, right? And
Yes.
they
Yeah.
end up in a vehicle together, and they end up destroying the entire vehicle,
Oh yeah.
and they just
Oh
keep
my
getting out
god.
of like one situation in the next and keep screwing each other over. And then at the end, they're like sitting on a bench together, and they're like, all right, well, see you later. And then he's like, wait, no, come with me. And the only part that killed me was that they didn't use the music from
Music.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The "Dun, every time you go away," like that would have been
That would have
amazing if they
been,
were
and
just.
that would have fit. That would have
I know
fit
it would
so
have fit
well.
perfectly. I'm like,
Because
oh my god.
this movie's soundtrack was crazy
Mm,
good. Like and some of the
so good.
violence, like the creative ways that they figured out to use Wolverine's claws and Deadpool's swords was just so good, and they did it, and they didn't like cheapen it in any way to where it was like disguised by crap.
Right.
Uh, Even when all the Deadpools come in, I know I'm skipping around, but Matt, do you need to go out? Do you need to get out of here? I need you to get out of here. You're making me probably hungry.
Goodbye, dog pool.
Boring. Head pool and lady pool was his wife. Nice pool.
Yeah, why didn't she? I thought she would have demasked. I thought that would have been funnier. She,
I know, especially if you're gonna wear the suit. Nice pool was so funny
yeah,
when
nice
he's like,
pool.
"I can fourth wall break too," and
Yeah,
he looks and he says another Ryan
the
Reynolds movie.
proposal. That's all he says. He just looks at it and goes, "The proposal."
That was one of the biggest laughs in my theater.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought that was
everyone
hilarious.
got it.
Just because it was so stupid. It was such a stupid fourth wall break. Like it was such a basic. Like there wasn't a joke to it. He was just like,
It had no meaning. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is in this movie. Like
It
it
didn't
was so
go with the
simple. Yeah.
scene at all. I
No.
love how he was like the shield, and he's the only one that can't regenerate.
Yeah.
The flying head pool was so cool. God, I mean, just so much
It
of
felt
it
a lot
looked
like the
like
Loki scene. It felt
pages.
like a lot like when all the Loki showed up in the Void. Like when you had like President Loki and Alligator Loki and
Yes,
Child Loki.
Kid Loki,
Kid Loki. Yeah.
Kid Pool, Baby Pool,
Yeah.
um, and oh, so the Void, the Cassandra Nova,
Yeah.
weird character from the comic books, not like really his twin, but that's kind of what they just, cut to
Oh,
the
it's
chase.
not.
Like,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's like she's an interdimensional being that was goo, and then
I always get confused by all those,
those.
like with like David, like his son and Legion and all that. Like it gets so confusing, like with his family and like what's her name, like McTaggart, like she
Moira
was in.
McTaggart.
Yeah, like she was in like the old cartoon, but she was just like his girlfriend. But then when you get in the comic, she has like powers and is
She has the
very
craziest
essential.
powers.
Yeah.
She always like she gets reborn.
Yeah. And like
It's
it
awesome.
resets everything or something. It's like
So
day after
cool.
tomorrow or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and she's
yeah.
like aware of it all.
But yeah, I mean, I think she was I don't know what other villain you would put
It
in
was
place because
cool when when she did that to them,
yeah,
dude. That was freaking weird. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that was as effective as a villain has been,
I felt like a
making you kind of
chimpanzee. Like I felt
queasy.
like
Like, ooh,
yeah, it was hitting me in
oh.
like some sort of internal
I know. I was like,
thing where
you
I'm
shouldn't
like,
do
as a
that to
human, I'm like,
me.
that should not be,
Yeah,
like
it looked so real though. I was like, ouch, don't do it. I felt it in my eyes.
his comments
It
were
was
so funny. She's like, she doesn't wash that hand. She doesn't wash them. And then the other
um,
guy, and then when Pyro's just like, just ask me a question. Can you just try for once and just ask a question? Like, stop putting your finger in our heads.
right, yeah.
He's like, I'll just tell
Um,
you if you ask me.
I thought the Chris Evans
That was a
thing
big laugh.
was was so good
Yeah.
because it threw me off. I was like, oh, he's like a different version of Cap.
Well,
And
they tricked you because they dressed like his sleeve had like Captain America
yeah,
colors all over it, you know?
yeah, it had like red and blood or whatever, and he was like in blue. And but then he's like, he's gonna say it, and I'm like, if he says I could do this all day like that, I'm like, I am not gonna buy this. And then he's
Yeah.
like, flame up. I'm like, oh, good. And then he dies. Well, he doesn't die, but he falls, and like,
Yeah.
eventually the way he dies is insane.
Yeah. It was like a Mortal Kombat, like finisher.
And the way that
But
did
the
you study
line
the
immediately after was perfect. Like, do you know what he was doing to the budget? Like, it was such a good meta moment.
I mean, the best meta moment is when he's talking to all the Deadpools, where he's like, miss after miss after miss. Let's just call it. And or he's like, the multiverse, it's done. It's just not working.
Just stop
Move
it.
on.
Right.
That was the best. That whole speech.
Definitely necessary. I mean, like the whole plot was very thin. It was kind of just an excuse to get from one place to the other. So
Yeah.
I feel like this was a lot like almost identical to the Spider-Man movie. Like there's like a problem and some cleanup. There's sort of this mirror universe thing where consequences don't really happen, and you can
Right.
just bring in whatever you want. And
Yeah.
then it kind of gets resolved. It's like a fun ride, and it's a payoff for
Yeah.
knowing everything. I found for like an hour or two after the movie, all I was doing was explaining things to Kelly, like, "Oh, you didn't. I forgot that you didn't see Logan, so now I'm going to explain Logan to you, and now I'm going to explain Blade and Blade 2 and Blade 3, and then Elektra, and then that means we're gonna have
Channing
to go
Tatum
into
and Gambit.
yeah,
And write the Daredevil joke.
and Daredevil, yeah." It was yeah, but it was still fun. Like it was still fun, and it did kind of the same thing that it did for like Garfield and stuff, where it kind of put like an end to some of the stories, or at least gave them like a cool heroes ending.
It's like, if this is it, it's like ending on a high note for like all those characters, no matter how their franchises ended. This gives them kind of like they were in that Deadpool and Wolverine movie
Yeah,
last.
yeah,
That's the last thing we saw of them. And that was good.
and it was cool. It gave that kind of like ending of, can you bring them back? And she's like, yeah, maybe. Like all the rules for the TVA are just like out the window now. It's like, oh yeah, those people are good, so we'll save them. Not like anybody else who's in the void, but just like those guys.
I know. I know. The rules get like really, but it's Deadpool, so that's why I always just go in with like, I'm just gonna see how fun they can make the fighting and the joking, and like and Hugh Jackman just a couple times like really giving like I mean, and Ryan Reynolds, but Hugh Jackman, the time when he's screaming, I'm a 200-year-old, and and when he tells about how he came back and found them all dead, and he never wanted to wear the suit, so now he wears it out of like whatever shame or guilt.
Yeah,
That was all good, and whatever. It was just like, it was always like in all the other Wolverine things, they never like got there. They always kind of like danced around it, but they never got to like that character that he is, that like resistant loner who really comes and saves everybody at the craziest moments.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would say that they made this Wolverine kind of like the Logan Wolverine, but with more to say.
Yeah.
The Logan Wolverine was conflicted and kind of just finished, being a savior, but didn't really resolve many of his problems. Like it just kind of, he just ran out of time. Basically, he was racing against the clock more than anything else.
He just ran out of batteries.
Yeah, and so this one was kind of like more of a healing for that. But Hugh Jackman definitely he did not phone it in. He
right.
Tell he's like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it my way, and nobody's going to tell me to do it
dude,
wrong.
You could just tell like him when he would like get down and like squat and be like, ah! And then when he puts the mask on, at first it looked weird, and then like I didn't want him to take it off. Like as he was like fighting and stuff as the movie went on.
It took a little bit of adjusting, but just like any mask would, you know. And how he
Yeah.
made the blowjob handles. That was hilarious. he made a joke faster than, you know, he just put it on.
I'm like, how did no one ever make that joke? Maybe somebody has with Batman, so it's there.
It was good. And then all like the little shops in the background and all their jokes and stuff, like the just feet and stuff. I thought that was funny.
What was that, Mephisto?
Who?
That devil-looking guy?
No, that was Azrael. That was
okay.
that's like somehow, like, I don't know. The stories have changed, but
Like
originally I thought that was Nightcrawler's dad. Like it was a mixture between him and Mystique. But I think they've changed it since then. Now they've made Mystique.
Because he looked like this guy.
Yeah, no, it's Azrael. Yeah, if you look at Azrael, it's
that's Mephisto.
Well, he was also in First Class. Azrael was in First Class.
Look, there's the brown and yellow one.
Oh yeah,
I was like naming the artists who like drew him.
I have the Wolverine one. Yeah, like the brown and yellow, but the first issue where he's like this.
Oh no way!
Yeah, I picked it up in like a bookshop like one time for like a quarter. It's in my
dude. I wonder what that's
stash.
worth right this very
it can't be
day.
Worth that much, but
oh jeez!
But it's my little treasure.
I think it's worth something.
But it was fun. It was definitely fun, and yeah, the opening scene was amazing. It was a great way to kick it off.
I loved it. Bye.
And then the Void was funny and good. And honestly, the dialogue was like, I think that's somehow, and I said this to Kel on the way out, I was somehow they kept some sort of threat level, you know, that like,
yeah, you didn't know.
It's so silly. You can't be like, okay, you know, like when Star Wars, like what was the second new one? I can't think of it.
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. Yeah, that was, you know, when they make the jokes in the very beginning, when they're like in the middle of bombing things and
prank phone calls.
Yeah, prank phone calls. It sucked. Like it was a joke that sucked the danger out of the scene. It's like, oh, are we just allowed to just joke around like with these world-ending machines that are flying around? Like what?
I was like, so Hux is not scary like he was in the first one,
right? Or everything's just like it's just a silly game two kids are playing in space, and with this, you know, it could easily go that way because anything you do to Deadpool is kind of nothing.
Right.
You know, and now you've got Deadpool and the multiverse. So you've got nothing multiplied by nothing. You know, where nothing matters. Like none of it matters. You know, no matter what, you'll find another Deadpool in a different multiverse. And no matter what happens to Deadpool, he already somehow knows what's going to happen. You know, it's kind of just silly, right? So the fact that they were able to keep some sort of threat level going through the whole movie, I thought that was a pretty good take on it.
Yeah, that was kind of what they did with Loki. It was like the only friends he had. He's like, yeah, I don't care if they don't live on the sacred timeline. I'm just going to hold it all together so that there's a million different timelines.
Yeah. The end of Loki was good. But I feel like they started with the end of Loki to get to the end of Loki. Like, I feel like they knew where they wanted it to end and it didn't really matter how they got there.
Right.
Like, it just seemed like the last two episodes, they were like,
all right, let's run in circles.
Yeah. they're like, all this other stuff that's going on, and don't worry about that. We don't need to revisit it, and don't worry about when he got the manual. That's not important.
And
it's just
we hired that actor, and now I guess we should just use him.
Yeah.
We hired him anyway. Well,
but I did like it. I do want to hear to see if other people picked up on the planes, trains, and automobiles. Because he actually said the line, too, when they were hiding behind the car. He almost said it correctly, but he... Because when he goes, you insensitive asshole, you know, like when Del, says that to Neil, when John Candy says it to him, he's like, you insensitive asshole, you know, like he like really like leans into him, but he says like you insensitive something else some other curse. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, like
Hmm.
you almost had it. And then they would have had like the dinner.
Oh.
And then when when they get in the apartment, he also introduces himself, um, like how Neil like introduces Dell to his wife. He's like, "Oh, Dell, like this is my wife. This is Dell," and he's like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Griffith." And then they just kind of like smile at the end or something like that. Like
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, they're doing the introductions like
Oh,
close.
but
Like
remember
it's
they
so
kind
close."
of do. Yeah, he's like talk to the girl.
Yeah,
Remember he like Wolverine like encourages him. He like takes the dog and he's like talk to her.
yeah.
And he's like I like you. At one point when he's talking to the skeleton, he calls him Hugh. Like it was, it was. I love those jokes that like 99% of the people just don't even catch.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like almost like he made a mistake and was like, "Who cares? Just leave it in."
yeah. It was so good. It was like I'm better now.
Depending on what Wolverine you have, they are fetching up to 26 grand.
It's the one where he's like this, where he's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's like a whole bunch of different versions, you know.
no, it's just the first one. I
I
forget.
know, but like that one has like
Oh,
variants.
it does really. Even back
Yeah,
then, they had
gratuitous use of
variants.
variants. I know, which is strange.
Hmm. Anyway, I don't know.
Um,
I'd have to get it graded and all that junk. I did
it's
order.
weird.
I did order signed uh, comics, like the first comics of that book that I'm reading. So, The Assassin's Apprentice. They made, I think, 6 comics so
Yes,
far,
Assassin's
or a dozen.
Apprentice.
So she signs them. She lives in the author lives in Washington, and she sells the books and the comics through Washington State University. And so you can go onto the Washington State University, and she just goes there and signs a whole bunch of stuff for them there. And then so I just ordered some signed comics. So they should be
Oh,
brand new,
cool.
signed by Robin Hobb. And which I don't know what you sign. Do you sign your pen name? Like when you, or do
Yeah,
you
I guess.
sign, because it
Weird.
would be weird if it was just your name and you're like, well, who the hell signed this?
Yeah,
I'd
like
be
is
like,
Bob Ross his real name?
can you sign all of your names on this, please?
Yeah, right. All aliases. Bob
Wow.
Ross. Robert Norman Ross. Wow. Um, so yeah, Jennifer Garner, what's his name? Channing Tatum as Gambit. I couldn't believe the accent and
It was
the way he just kept
horrible. It
making
was so
fun of it.
painful. Yeah.
I haven't seen Sling Blade in a long time,
Yeah. That was the right way to make fun of it too.
but it
He
was
got no
cool.
bears
The
in it.
cards looked cool, like
Hmm.
like throwing them around.
Yeah, the effects looked great. And he had a staff, which was cool. And it was like all lit up. And then like when they saw what do you call Juggernaut, they're like, "Oh, you're I guess you're this Juggernaut."
Yeah, we
Because
got
he's
that. We got this Juggernaut.
we
Yeah,
got this Juggernaut. Okay.
because or something like that. But like, yeah, in the last one, it was CGI. It was like just like a giant stretched out,
There was Lady
huge
Deathstrike there too. Lady Deathstrike was there,
mhm,
which
and
was like
Toad.
one of Wolverine's like ex-girlfriends, right? Like cuz she got the
Oh yeah,
adamantium.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I
so
loved how
there was some
Pyro just. It was really cool. It was like an X-Man against a Fantastic Four, and he like pulls his fire off of him,
yeah,
and
that
just
was nice.
that was crazy. I was like, oh, geez.
And then he just
This is
falls.
like comic book crossover stuff that I never even like thought about. An X-Man going
I thought he was
against,
dead when he landed
the
though.
Human
Like he
Torch.
landed like on his back. I'm like,
Right on his side. I know, and he like twisted, and like I was like, I guess he's invincible, or what the fuck?
he was
I don't
fine
know.
later
Like
on.
it is. Does he have like super strength and durability?
I guess he's got to have some, even without
Yeah,
his powers on.
right. But it's weird. It's like you really just can fly and catch yourself on fire.
They had one of the Fantastic Four, like part of the ship. You know, they have like that ship that breaks apart into like 4 pieces.
Hmm.
They had like the front of it when they were like driving in that convoy. when he made the whole speech for Mad
Oh,
Max.
oh.
They're like, we are going really close to a lawsuit here for
I
Mad Max.
love how he's like, I am Furiosa.
Yeah.
That was cool too, how he just ran by him and then his beard just started like turning red. And he was like, something wrong, girl? Did Timmy fall in the well? That was so funny. Is there something wrong, girl? And then his head just.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was so funny. That's like my two takeaways. It was really funny. The fight scenes were just so good. And yeah, you were like, I don't know how this is going to end. So there is like some weird stakes here, and I just don't know how they're going to like. Are they like when they were, holding themselves, and
Yeah.
at the very very end, I was like, okay, they're going to vaporize, and then what? But they didn't. So
Yeah,
I was like, all right,
they kind of
cool.
gave you a Guardians of the Galaxy plus uh
Yeah,
Endgame, right? Like they did the whole Hawkeye and Black Widow, like you go, no,
yeah.
I'll go, no, you go, no, I'll go. All right, and then
I can't believe they didn't reference Armageddon when he pushed him out and
yeah,
locked the door. And so, it was the same move, the same exact move.
they could have. Oh yeah, that would have been great. That
I
would have been
can't believe he didn't just say like Bruce Willis or something like
yeah.
that.
Like never gonna close my eyes.
Right.
He did like the door
um,
jokes, and he probably could have fit that in. The door jokes, the flying one was funny. I thought the flying one was
oh,
pretty.
I know. Yeah, he's like, a Marvel Jesus or Spock. Who could tell? And he liked or Spock.
Yeah, I mean that was a good reference too.
Jesus and Spock.
Spock and
Who's
Wrath of Khan.
Is Spock like Jesus?
No,
Oh,
no,
Jesus is super
I
emotional.
mean, technically, if you're referencing Armageddon, Spock did it first in Wrath of Khan, where he
Oh,
pushes Kirk out and then has to like disable the nuclear device and he dies. And
oh,
that, like in
right.
Seinfeld, remember remember when they talk about Spock and they both
And
get sad?
Spock dies. Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Or they're like wiping their eyes.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, you got to see. Yeah, Wrath of Khan's awesome
I've heard.
because then they
I
tried to
know
do it
Jerry
again
says Wrath
in
of
the new one.
Khan's the better picture.
Wrath of Khan is awesome.
Search for Spock.
Search for Spock was so boring. It's just all that's really what they're doing. And then they just kind of shoot his dead body onto a planet that is getting, they have this missile that makes it grow life. So if it's a dead planet, they would shoot it and then it would just, this light or energy would go all around it and then plants and stuff would grow. So they shoot it into this planet. And as they shoot it into the planet, Kirk comes up and shoots Spock's body like in a casket, like onto the planet, and then they come down and he's like there, but he doesn't have his memories, and so
Oh.
they slowly try to like regain him, and then by like the fourth movie, he's back.
Hmm.
But Wrath of Khan was good. They like I said, they tried to do it again in the new Star Wars. They in the second movie they tried to have Khan again, and so then they had the ending the same way, but then Kirk does it to Spock. So then Kirk dies, and he gets brought back to life, and 2 minutes later, like Chewbacca in Last Jedi.
Right.
It's like you didn't even give me a second to breathe, and they're like, "All right, he's alive.
I was like
Don't worry."
bold, very bold. Killed Chewie. Cool
Like
way
without
too.
seeing him, without even
Accidental.
seeing him.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't even say goodbye. That's just the shit that happens more. But of course, people would have been like,
Or they could have made it last
everybody had
for
to live.
like maybe it could have just been over in that one, and then
Right.
shown up in the third movie or something. But instead, they're like the very next scene. They're like, "Good thing there were two ships." Yup. Like there's just two random guys at a coffee machine. Like, good thing we had two ships,
Right.
right? Let me just top that off for you. Yeah, that Chewbacca was definitely on the other ship. Yeah,
That was lucky.
because we all know him.
We
It's
do.
very
He's famous.
we know he's very important.
It's very famous. I don't know why. What did Chewie actually do? Well, he was the slave. Well,
He
the
put
pretend slave.
C-3PO back together and gave them about a 5-second head start that Vader was on Cloud City.
5 seconds.
He's like,
Oh yeah, he was like,
stormtroopers
oh no,
here,
oh no.
Imperial troopers here, and then they walked outside, and it was like, oh,
Oh yeah, God, that's such a good movie.
a little bit, just a little bit of a heads up. Oh, I should
Um,
not have shuffled these.
Post-credit scene was funny. I liked the credits when they did the Green Day song, and they showed
That's
like
cute.
it was like an homage to all the Fox movies.
Not only that, it was like a
And
'90s homage. It's like exactly how you do it in the '90s too. It was like
right, it was
Seinfeld,
even
right?
like
Yeah,
grainy.
they
Yeah,
did
and the
that for Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Yep, same thing with pictures and videos, and
In all
yeah,
of
it
our
was
eighth
really well
grade
done.
yearbooks, all of our high school yearbooks, all the photographs and still frames in our minds.
Hanging on a hey. Yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to watch it again, just purely for exactly what they went for, those two together. You
Yeah,
know, it's like you should treat these movies in this little MCU like one comic book. You know, it's like a little adventure happens.
yeah.
Not the greatest movies of all time are going to happen.
But I think some of this you should go back and watch Blade now. You should go back and watch some of the earlier movies and just kind of see what they were thinking or how they were trying to bring people in the '90s.
I'm going to watch
Yeah,
Blade,
yeah,
and I'll most likely watch Blade 2,
uh-huh.
and I'll most likely watch Blade 3.
Yeah.
And I'll say, screw the people who say Blade 3 sucks. Because by then I'm so
You
invested in
won't.
the character, I
You
won't
won't.
care what
No,
happens.
you won't. You'll watch
I've
Blade
seen
3 and
Lost.
go, "That's enough Blade. That's enough
Oh,
Blade for
really?
at
It's
least
bad?
at least a few decades."
I remember watching the first like 10 minutes of Blade, the original, and being like, oh, this is cool. But then, of course, something happened and I couldn't continue, and then I never went
Blade
back
1
to it.
and 2 are great. Blade 3 is also good. It's not like it's a terrible movie. It just is
Oh,
eating its own tail. It's just too much.
oh no.
It's just too much Blade. But it was also around the same time we were doing Underworld and like all those other vampire movies and stuff like that. So it's a lot of black leather. It's a lot of black leather and clubs. Lots of
New
clubs,
outfits
lots of
every
black leather,
scene.
And I feel like the Matrix just kind of finished that world. Like I think Blade started it and then the Matrix just finished it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we did
It's like,
that, but now we've got like big fat guys going to Comic-Con wearing like leather dusters and it's just not cool anymore. It's like your parents joining Facebook. It's just not cool now. Like it's over.
yep, it had its run. It's funny. They said, it's been reported that the guy who made the original X-Men movies was like, I don't want it to have anything to do with the guy. I want it to be as far away from the comic books as possible. I don't want it to look like the comic books. And Feige would sneak Hugh Jackman Wolverine comics, and he's like, why aren't we doing this? And at one point in the movie, the guy's like, when they put on their black leather matching suits,
Mhm.
and someone says, what'd you expect? Blue and yellow spandex?
Right.
And then in X-Men 97, in an episode, they all put the blue and yellow suits on, and he goes, what'd you expect? Black leather? I was like, ooh, neat.
Yeah. It was good. It was
Because,
good.
and I thought it looked so good, and the way that like the way Hugh Jackman wore it, like it looked like it was his, like it looked like he has always been wearing it.
Yeah.
It like in the way that it like had like the wear and tear and all the scuff marks and the bullet marks all throughout the movie, and it kept getting dirtier. I just think that is something that I notice when they all of a sudden their suits are just perfect the whole time, and I'm like, yo, but you just like were fighting and stuff. Like part of it had to get damaged.
Right.
I don't like it when there's no like, like they're living in it, not
There
like
there
it's a
there
costume.
there was a bit of that, especially when they were like I think there was a part where like Wolverine pulled his blades out of Deadpool's shoulder and then a moment later there's like no holes in his suit. It's just the suit's just fine. But I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, like continuity is good, but like
Because
when
I
you're doing a
noticed he had
thousand
the
stabs,
3 claws right here.
yeah, yeah, they did do that. Yeah,
That was the one thing that they kept at least,
yeah.
you know?
I liked how
Like, all their
he said.
scars in the first couple episodes of Lost, how
I
they
liked
have
how
to,
he
like,
said
keep
"baby knife"
fading them.
every time he took out his little knife. Like it was like
It's
inserted
baby
in.
knife.
You know,
I'm
he's
gonna
like
kill
baby
you.
knife. Like every time he took it out, baby knife. And he'd like
I
stab
like
with it.
how when they put the helmet on her, that's how it, because someone mentions that, right? Like, someone mentions it real quick when they get there. Probably Elektra. She's like, "Just get Juggernaut's helmet and put it on, put it on her," or something like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she like isn't in control anymore. And I was like, "Oh yeah, they said that." I
When
didn't
they
even
were
like
doing
know what they said.
like yeah, I liked
Yeah,
how
that
they
was
took away
crazy.
Magneto's helmet too. They're like, there's got to be a Magneto here. It's like there was. It's like she killed him. It's like, well, his helmet, and she destroyed it.
Oh yeah, I know. He was like, "No, Magneto, come on." He's like a fourth person. Is it Magneto?
One thing I missed.
I really
Did
use
Blade
Magneto right now.
did Blade reference that he knew Deadpool like from his
It,
third movie at all? Like I don't know if they made that connection.
they referenced something where it was like Wesley Snipes was a headache on the set of that movie.
Oh, all right.
I like when he's like, "I thought you were retired." And he's like, "You still I'm retarded? No, retired." No, he's like, "Retired." Like, you're not working anymore.
Do you think he knows something? Like when he looked at the when he said I'm the only Blade, and then he turned and looked at the camera. Do you
That
think that
was
was
that was weird to me. I mean, the fact that I'm saying it right now out loud, I'm like, that's just Ryan Reynolds being like, "Go ahead and say it. Like, just say it
yeah?
and just to fuck with
Oh,
the
oh, just do
fans."
whatever you want. Yeah,
Like,
because
just say
Disney or
that.
Marvel would be like, no, don't let him say that because it'll down
Because
whoever we
we're
get to play the new
doing
Blade. Yeah.
right, yeah. But he looked so cool, I thought, with the gray little spots
Oh my gosh, he was
and the
great
teeth.
as Blade. Like he was so good, just so committed.
John Cutter.
And it was it was such a goofy time to be a superhero. And he wasn't, and he was such a, it was such an anti, like the one of the first anti-heroes. You know, there was so many Punishers,
Right, right.
but it was, you know, he was the first successful, you know, I mean, and also he was well before, you know, Black Panther and stuff. Like I don't know why no people ever got behind like let's bring Blade back right now. Like we have him, he's ready. You don't even need to do
Oh,
an
people
origin
were
story. Just have him walk on, and we'll just have a Blade story. You know?
there's been a contingency. It's like the Midnight Suns or something like that. I feel like that's kind of who was left in the void because they were like the Punisher, and he was like, "Which one?"
Yeah, I tried to
there's,
rewatch
there's been 4.
I tried to rewatch the Punish like the mid '90s one. That was painful. That is not a
Oh
good movie.
God, no, none of them were good. I liked the well, I think one of them was okay, but I liked the show. The show was nuts.
Yeah,
He was like, he was just like the brain damage that he has is like Rocky times 5. Like the punches. Is everything
yeah.
okay? I hear pups.
Oh, just somebody's coming in and out of the house. But
Burglars.
the one thing I wanted to say about it, I feel like it's going to be the rewatchability on it is going to be high for myself, but I don't think anybody that hasn't seen those movies is going to take it as like, oh, let me like watch this again. You know, like I'm going to watch
Oh
it
yeah.
again to hash to just, you know, like I'm sifting for gold on the sand, you know, in a riverbank. Like I just want to try and find some more Easter eggs or
And
find
just
some more jokes I didn't hear yet. You know, but
those scenes where he's looking for Wolverine and he's
yeah,
bumping into all the different comic book covers.
yeah,
It's like they were happening so fast. I'm like, I have to see them all over
yeah.
and over again,
And people
especially
were
the Hulk thing
screaming
because
like I
it's so
couldn't
fast.
hear. You know, when they had
Yeah.
like the little Wolverine and stuff, I was like, comic book
Oh
accurate
my.
Wolverine. Kelly was so confused by that. She's like, "What was going on there? Why was there like a little Oompa Loompa Wolverine?" And I was like, "No, It's, I mean, because they used to rip apart Hugh Jackman. It's like so funny. It's because at the time the comic book people were ripping apart Hugh Jackman for being too tall. So it's like hilarious that it's like, okay, is that what you want him to look like that? little tiny, little tiny comic book accurate Wolverine.
It was so, yeah, like that was just, it was like, he's, you go with the actor, you idiots. It doesn't matter the size, but like he is really short. He's like shorter than Spider-Man in the comics.
Yeah,
If they all lined up standing next to each other.
but who cares? It's
But
just
it's like, yeah, again,
I'd
doesn't
rather have somebody who
matter.
can act super well than
Right.
fits it
Yes, you want a
perfect.
captivating actor who can become. And that's what I was thinking about Elvis. It was like everyone's like, "Oh, he doesn't look like him." I'm like, he'll become Elvis. You'll think it's him the
Right,
whole time you're watching the movie.
right.
You'll almost forget what Elvis looks like.
So
Um,
funny.
so yeah, I think I'm gonna rewatch it just because the things I was looking forward to were done like just it wasn't they met my expectations and kind of exceeded them
Yeah,
because they were never like too long or too short or like redundant and they were spread out. I don't know. I just the fight stuff. I was like, this is what everyone wants to see. Deadpool and Wolverine. They can't die. They have
right,
these weird, unique weapons. Deadpool is like a taunting, jackass, and Wolverine is this crazy maniac. Like, just it's perfect. It's Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, or it's like Roddy Piper and Andre the Giant.
right.
It's just a great. It's a great like mismatch, but like perfect match.
Yeah. Well, it's an
Uh,
odd couple. It's like a
yeah,
it's like a buddy comedy, right?
yeah,
Like you want
and
to see both of them succeed.
and in the comics, you see them fight all the time, and that's the thing that I was like, I think they're going to put a lot of effort into just making sure the fighting is cool, and with the car, and just it was really creative and well done, and there was like so much homage paid to everybody that yeah, even that I barely watched or liked most of those movies.
Yeah.
um it's like I like what they did with them in this movie,
Yeah.
if that
No,
makes sense.
I think they treated everything with kindness. Like even Gambit,
Yeah,
which was a joke, they still, even
it was
allowed him to have
cool.
a cool fight at the end and do all these cool moves that you wanted to see Gambit do. So
My
by the
friend
end,
is like a huge Gambit guy, and he's like, like as soon as when he walks in the room, I like texted him. I'm like, dude, you have to see this movie. Again, that's all I'm gonna say because I didn't hear. Like I had no
yeah,
idea. Normally, I know whatever. I know what the fuck's gonna happen, and I just like made a conscious effort to avoid any cameo news. The Cavill thing, that was just so crazy. I couldn't
I
believe that was real.
I found myself like making little jokes as I was watching the movie, like where and it was kind of funny where my brain would connect things because like when they said, a sorcerer came through here and dropped a sling ring or something like that. Obviously you go straight to strange and think it's strange, but I, I was thinking that it was Spider-Man's friend Ned,
That's what I was hoping.
and then they were just gonna have like Ned's head like sitting there, like
Because
he's
they
dead.
said an amateur wizard. And I was like, oh, yes. And Ned was at the thing. Like, I saw him on the red carpet or whatever, like it
Oh,
came
was
up
he?
on my feed. And I was like, what the hell's he doing there?
Yeah,
And I was like, and then they said that. I'm like, yes, they killed Ned. That's crazy. But no,
it would be good. Well, I
it
mean,
was one
they
of the
could still come
strangest
out with like
movies.
kind of a special edition of it. Like when they did Deadpool 2, they also came out with the Once Upon a Deadpool, which
Hmm.
was the PG-13 version of it.
Right, with Fred Savage.
with Fred Savage and everything. So I mean, he could do something stupid like that again. Stupid good. Stupid
That was
good.
so funny.
All right.
When they're in the bed arguing. It's so funny in the beginning. You're Disney. You're not Disney. You're Fox or Disney. Disney adjacent. Marvel. Fox. Disney adjacent.
I like when he quit Fox. Like when he went over to the camera.
Oh my god.
He's like, I'm out.
Dude, the stuff that he does during the entire Bye 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 song, like it's not like chopped up. It's like the whole thing. It even has like the slow down part. And he's like taking selfies, all the like creative ways he was killing them. It was so good.
Yeah. And the two guys that like weren't completely dead. Like they're like, come on, kill me, like finish it. And he's pushing them both back and forth. And
oh yeah, that's right. It was like in the guy's ass. He's like, you're demolishing my privates or something.
It was good. It was good. It was fun.
Oh my god. Nice.
Do you think they'll do another one? Do you think they'll do more?
I think I don't know. I feel like Ryan Reynolds is like bigger than the MCU as far as like not bigger than it, but I just think he's like not doing that anymore. Like you can just tell with that Wrexham thing that he's doing, with the Jin thing that he's doing, and like how his money is like everywhere. I don't know if he's I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna rush. He's gonna show up here and there, probably.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if we're gonna see a Deadpool 4.
Yeah, because
this one was pretty amazing to end on.
I mean, I would say that his brand in the MCU is probably one of the strongest. I'd say he's up there with like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right. And Iron Man even.
God,
yeah. like he's risen to that level where
Totally,
if they ask him to show up in other things, he might actually just say no.
right.
It's like no, you can be in my things, but I don't need to be in your things. Like I don't need to go and like, jump into a Scarlet Witch episode or something like that to make that better. Like I could just stay in mine. So I don't know. We'll see.
No, I agree. I think it's like you need me. I don't want to be a part of. It's like I don't need to be part of the MCU. Charlie, I'm here. I'm here in my office. Yeah. Okay. Love you. I knew they were gonna come in. Hi, babe. Say hi, Agnew.
Hello.
See him on the TV, or I mean on the computer.
Why is your face there?
What?
Why your face is there?
Because we're doing a show. Get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's okay.
Hmm.
Are you on your show right now?
Yeah. We're live.
I'm so
Coming
sorry.
at you. It's okay.
Hi,
Hi.
Agnew. Charlie,
gotta-
come here. Because Daddy's on the come here.
Because I'm on the air, Charlie. I'm live.
We've got thousands. We've got millions of people watching.
Oh, really quick. We got to get out of here. That's not the choice. That's not
Charlie.
Give him a hug right now. One. Hey, we're not doing this on the internet. Give Daddy a hug.
I love you.
Come on. Let's go.
I'll see you in a little bit, okay?
He'll be done soon. Come on.
Oh.
Such an actor. Such an actor. Daddy.
They only get better. Trust me.
Oh my gosh. Killers. They see, and it's funny because she's just doing that to delay going to bed. It's not really because she misses me or hasn't seen
Yeah, but if we
me in,
say
like,
that
2
somehow
days.
we're heartless. Because I say that all the time. I'm like, no, I'm not falling for your tricks.
I'm like, this
Kelly
is
would
an
be like,
agenda.
no, like they're tired. They've had a long day. I'm like, no, this is the same ploy. Like, I'm not getting
It's the
sold
oldest
on.
trick.
Yeah.
I'm like, Heather and probably Kelly, little too goody two shoes. And didn't like, it's like maybe they saw people like manipulating, but they were just like nice to everyone and like didn't try to lie. It's like, no, they're good.
I just
No,
when
selfish.
I'm when I'm home alone, they come out. They're like, like I just want to love. I'm like, get back to bed. I'm like, all right, it's over. It's bedtime.
Get back to bed.
Get back to bed. Right. Well, we got a few. We don't have to go through all of them because we're already an hour in. But I printed them out so they're a bit bigger. So I've got my kid makes
It's like my grandma.
my kid
I
makes
made
me.
the font 17.
I
Sorry.
made it very large. It's now 8,000 pages. This book. My kid makes me regret having kids.
Oh, cunt.
I
Sorry.
hate him like the plague. My husband said about our 18-month-old.
Holy monkey. You don't even know what the plague was like.
I picked some good ones. Wife is exhausted. Second choice, question mark. That one's a wild card. I don't know what that one's going to be about. I thought everything was fine until my wife started nagging on a regular basis. Anyone else?
Ooh.
I think that's all I got.
Better hope she doesn't find that one.
That one's let's just post that on the internet.
Hopefully she's not one of our listeners. You never know.
You want to start with that one?
Sure.
Start at
Sure.
the end.
Thought my wife was cool until she started nagging. Damn, again. It's like I already know where this is going.
Hey guys, I, male, 36 years old, wanted to share something personal that's been on my mind lately. I've been married for a few years now, and honestly, I thought everything was going pretty smoothly. We've had our ups and downs, but nothing out of the ordinary, or so I thought. But then, out of the blue, my wife started nagging me about everything on a regular basis. At first, it was little things like doing dishes, thanks for the plug, or other chores around the house, or forgetting to pick up something from the store. I brushed it off, thinking it was just a phase, but it didn't stop. In fact, it is getting worse. A few days ago, I decided to talk to her about it. I asked her why she seemed so unhappy and why she was always on my case. What she told me completely took me by surprise. She said she felt like we'd stopped connecting, like we were living parallel lives under the same roof. Have any of you
Uh-oh.
experienced this sudden shift with your wife? How did you handle it? I'd love to get some advice on how to turn things around. Like, really, there wasn't much depth in that.
I know. It's like there's this common denominator here. It's like talk. You tell her that you feel this happening. And then you go, oh, well, because of this and that. Oh, well, I'll change it. And then I won't do that. We won't feel like this. You know what I mean, though? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
Do you know?
tell you, like, I don't know if I've said this to Heather, to my wife, but I've like said, like, I feel like we're leaning into that maybe once or twice. Like, we've been together for 10 years now. So, like, you know, once or twice it's been like, we need to go and do something together and find it again, because life kind of wedges you apart, especially with two kids. It was probably right when Charlie showed up.
Yeah. No, especially when the kids enter the equation. It's especially when I would agree with you on especially when you have multiple kids, let's say, because then you switch from zone to man, and
divide and conquer,
and then you realize that you actually need two zones to cover one child each. So it gets pretty complicated. But I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here. I think. It sounds, maybe I'm going to misinterpret what the guy said, but I think it sounds more like she's saying something and he doesn't quite get it. And I do understand that sometimes, where it's she's like, oh, we're not connecting, but he thinks everything's fine.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, you're nagging me to do things. And she's like, well, we're not connecting. And you're like, well, what? Like, from a guy's perspective, it's like, should we watch a movie? Like, I don't understand, sometimes I get confused by the connecting. And it's like, well, what do you want to do to
my God.
connect,
They just want to. It's like love language.
Right. Yeah. It comes down to love
Like,
language.
what do
But
I
it
do?
also,
What is it? I need to sit in the same room with you for 2 hours, and then that'll like fill it to the top, like a video game. It'll be like on all green to the top level, filled up 100% power level,
yeah.
and that'll last you.
But I will say this, I do wish sometimes women would just say what they need, because the problem is sometimes they don't know what they need and they expect you to know what they want, and then they get upset when you don't do what they don't know what they need.
Yeah, I know.
And you're like, you don't even know. Like, how am I supposed to know?
It's a revolving door of assumption to nowhere, where you're like, oh, well, I think, and then I thought, oh, well, then she didn't, but you didn't tell.
Right.
It's like when it's expectation. It's like these, I guess, inaccurate expectations that aren't even openly discussed.
Right.
Like I had that conversation. One of the times I was apologizing, I was like, I have this expectation in my head that when I come down here, you're just going to be like ready for me, like naked and just like ready. And when you're curled up in a ball in your gross pajamas on the couch, I get mad at you because you didn't fulfill my prophecy of this porno brain that I've been stapled with of non-reality.
It's fair. The difference being you could actually describe exactly what you were expecting.
It's pretty good that I could get there and be like, hey, look, I know this is ridiculous. Thank God I'm aware. And that I came to that conclusion all alone.
Yeah.
That it's like, I just pretended that it's so stupid.
No, it's definitely tough, but I can understand the frustration with it, because, well, I feel like we're a bit less complicated. It's like, we only need like 3 things.
Yeah.
Like, and any of them will do. Like, it's like if she was in her pajamas, but she had a sandwich ready for you, you'd be like, oh, all right. Like, that's pretty good,
Yes, true. Very true.
It's a good second, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they don't know what's wrong, but they're like, if you knew me, then you'd know what I don't know, and it's like, what, and
I've caught myself going like, if you don't know what's wrong, then what do we eat? And I'm like, that's from Saved by the Bell. I cannot use that. I remember Jesse Spano using that on Slater, and I was like, that's horseshit.
Yeah. Even then you knew it was. Yeah, that's a talk to each other. So
yeah.
what would be your conclusion for that one?
That might be hard to do, but then again, say that as well. Hey, look, this is hard for me to even talk about. But this distance thing, what fixes it? Or think about what you do that after you do it with your wife, she's like cool with you. And if you don't know that,
it's a dangerous place to be in. But just keep asking too. I think the problem here too is that she might be nagging for you to do the dishes, and then you're going to go do the dishes, and that's not going to be it. Right? So you're like, all right, I did everything that she nagged me for. Why are things not getting better? Which is just going to lead to frustration and then continue the cycle.
Right. If we had more specifics on what the nagging was about.
Yeah, you just said dishes and like cleaning up.
Oh, well.
But what I'm saying is, like, he might do those things, but really she's like, I want you to do the dishes so we can stare into each other's eyes.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? but he's going to do the dishes and then turn on the NBA game and be like, "What? I did the dishes. Like, you love me
Oh,
now."
right,
And then it's
right.
not going to go well.
Right.
But that's like, just like you said, it's kind of like the love languages things. Like,
Yeah.
the problem is when you take your own love languages and you apply yours to her,
my
you know,
God.
and then you're like, this would work for me. Why doesn't this work for you? And you're
Right.
asking me. So in your brain, it goes, oh, this is simple. Just do the thing.
Right. Like, is she? I don't know. That's a tough one to recap because nagging is such a weird part of marriage. It's like
Well, it
may
depends on
feel
what.
like nagging.
Well, yeah, it depends on what frame of reference you are. If you're in a bad mood, it's nagging. If you're in a good mood, it's planning. You know, if there's two options, like put the kids to bed or do the dishes, and you get to pick do the dishes, that's actually a win. And so on some nights, you know, like if you're like, all right, I can't do anymore, it's like, go do the dishes. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, that's the
I'm going to
most
turn on
mindless.
Seinfeld and phase out, you know, it's going to be great. It's going to be
This
the
is
best
my vacation.
hour of my, yeah,
This
right.
is my 15 minutes.
Right. So, you know, it really comes down to perspective and what mood you're in. So
Right,
it sounds like
right.
she's nagging because you're in a bad spot and then you're surprised by it. So it seems like you're sort of not paying attention, or you might not be aware, which is fine. You know, like you can easily fall into that a lot with marriage where you're not paying attention to the right things because, you know, life is happening and you think you're
Right.
handling everything, but you forgot to do, you know, relationship stuff.
You're trying
So
to keep yourself all in one piece.
that's true too. You always have your self stuff creeping into your head. Like, did you do the dishes all last week for nothing? You know, and it just keeps clawing into you. It's like, oh, like you need to clean up those socks on the couch. But what about that huge mess after that bachelorette party that's strewn into the closet for 6 months? Maybe we bring that up.
Strewn.
Strewn. All right. So there you go, 36M.
Yep.
You got it. Let's do.
Oh, dude, when the ramp turns into steps and he's like, oh, ableist, the woke mom's going to get you. I didn't know what he said.
Oh,
I had to
my gosh.
look it up. I'm like, what did he say about ableist? I didn't get it because she was in a wheelchair, so it kind of tricked you.
And then, oh yeah, because she went up in a wheelchair and then got it and then stood up. It's like, oh,
And then it turned into
ableist.
steps.
Yeah. He also said that to her again when she was going on a rampage about like her sob story. And he's like, just bury it down or turn it into opportunity.
Yeah. Or cancer.
Or
Turn
cancer.
success or cancer.
Turn it into success or cancer. That's what he said.
I like when they're in the TVA and he's like, you're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You're joining kind of at a low point. And there's so many skeletons. Ant-Man skeleton, Wolverine skeleton, my skeleton.
I wish they would have saved that joke. I wish they hadn't put that in the trailer. That was like in one of the early trailers. And I did see that one.
What?
Paul Rudd does age. I thought that was like a really good joke.
That was actually like in a TV spot. It was like real quick. And I was
I think it was on like the Super Bowl or something.
Why did they blow that one?
Yeah, that was a good joke. You should have kept that.
And the Marvel Jesus thing. I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, those were both really good.
Jesus. Or Spock. Right.
Let's see if I can find it.
Oh my God.
I hate him like the plague, my husband said about our 18-month.
Like the plague.
I hate him like the plague. This just happened, and I am completely crushed. Like, it happened, and you ran to your laptop and just instantly went on Reddit. Like, this just happened. It's hot off the presses. Like, such a weird way to put it. Like, this just like just is all caps too. So it's like
It
this
just happened,
happened.
but for no one reading it.
Yeah. My son is crying in his bed, but I'm going to go write this. Again, this comes back to like the like, oh, this thing happened to me, right? I skinned my knee. I better go post about it.
I know, right? Yeah.
Something interesting. Okay. This just happened and I am completely crushed. That's not even the right word. I am beyond mad. I am at a complete loss. We have a high needs toddler who woke up crying in the middle of the night and had a tantrum / breakdown, whatever. I asked my husband to help me soothe him, and he said he can't because he has feelings of intense hate. I was like, question mark? Towards our son? Question mark? I was shocked. He said yes, that he hates him like the plague. I have no idea what to do anymore. I've been at my lowest point mentally, and I am very weak at the moment. How do I pick myself back up and deal with this? I told him that this is beyond unacceptable and completely crossed the line, and that I'm expecting a huge apology. He didn't even feel he did anything wrong. Even an apology won't fix this. This is pause for dramatic pause. I have no words. Please help. I feel like I'm having a mental breakdown. This is like, okay, that's how he spoke about our sweet little boy who is not at fault and simply can't regulate himself. Oh, I am so angry. I'm getting angry at her right now. I am so angry.
The words.
Oh, okay. So that was the whole post. And then she wrote, edit. Thanks for all your comments. I read almost all of them and we'll finish reading them. They really mean a lot at a time like this. Yeah, of course, all the Reddit comments have her back. I always think it's useful to gain some perspective, and I was able to do that through these comments. A few things. My husband does have a few diagnoses. He definitely has mental health issues. We have a psychiatrist. He is not making an effort anymore to look for a therapist. Some people asked if this is out of character. Yes and no. He has never behaved like this toward our child. He has said absolutely horrible, inhumane things to me and apologized later. Usually he loves our son a lot and is so loving with him, but he can't handle the tantrums. Regardless, this does cross the line. We've been dealing with an impossible load recently with no help. Non-stop tantrums, no sleep, etc. Packing up this second leaving is obviously extremely difficult. I work in the evenings where he takes care of him, where in parentheses, where he takes care of him. I am supposed to work today and I don't know what to do. It's very difficult and nuanced situation. I know I need to make some hard decisions to protect my son. And a little update. More updates. I barely slept last night. First thing in the morning, I told him he needs to see our psychiatrist this morning and tell him exactly what he said to our son. Plus, I will give a handwritten note with my side. He reluctantly said yes. Plus, I will give a handwritten note with my side. He reluctantly said yes and said he's tired. I went back to sleep. It's not like I didn't sleep last night and it's his fault, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, I also contacted our family therapist, my own therapist, and my mom as a trusted family member. So these are the first steps for now. I'll try keep you guys updated if you want. Update. I asked my husband if he had anything to say about what did last night. He told me that he does not hate our son. He hates the circumstances. He is burnt out and he lost it last night. He can't cope with the responsibility and he didn't think parenting would be like this. He can't deal with the fact that he can't eat in peace, sleep in peace, etc. I told him that he majorly crossed the line. Right now, he went to see the psychiatrist. I still need to process all of this. I have been extra loving to our son today, trying to repair the damage he caused. And make sure he knows I love him more than anything and will always be there for him. He's 18 months, isn't he? How old is he? Yeah, he's 18 months.
18-month old.
It doesn't sound like the dad said it to him.
Look, there were moments with Charlie where she just sucked. She was miserable all the time. It was like She hated being a baby. She couldn't wait to catch up to everybody. So she was just pissed and impatient about everything. Only wanted Heather. And I used to say the craziest shit that, like, you know, if I'm ever like framed for something bad and this was recorded, they could like use it to trick a jury. But I was really just making a joke because Heather just knew I was kidding. But I was getting out frustrations, and words can do that, especially when the person that you're saying about it, like, doesn't even understand you're saying it. You know, it's like
Right.
saying it to a pet, an animal. But this guy saying that he hates him like the plague, it's like,
I mean, it's like a euphemism. It's like a
right. Yeah.
it's like
It's
a
just,
saying.
it's just like saying, I mean, I said way worse than that. Like, that's just dumb and outdated, and I don't even know what the plague is like. But yeah, he's just angry because this kid sucks because he's 18 months but I mean, 18 months, they start kind of getting cool soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still pretty early. They still are just like a lump of crying shit.
Yeah. Or not shit, or like they're actually lumps of shit because they didn't poop or something. Like, it's like there's so many reasons that they get upset.
Yeah, dude, like they're all compacted organs, very tiny.
Yeah.
And they, like, one little thing can go wrong, and like they're just so useless that they are uncomfortable and they don't know how to help themselves. So
Yeah.
they yell at you. They yell at you and they want you to make it better.
I mean, it is tough. I think, there's probably something else they got to try. And that seems harsh to say, where you're like, oh, we'll try something else. And it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock, but
Right.
I do always feel like there is, something else. And I have to constantly learn that too, like as I approach different topics with the kids, I have to figure out new ways to address it. And I have to make sure like I'm not snapping at them too much,
Yeah, because they don't hear you.
or if I'm trying to get a point across, am I getting it across the best way? But to me, I mean, it sounds like this was kind of an overreaction. I want to say I don't like all the I don't like when everybody starts talking about regulating and start using all the like. I get that
Soothe.
mental health is important.
Soothe him.
And
Help soothe him. Shut the fuck up. Help calm him down.
Right,
Soothe him.
Right.
Soothe him. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like it's
so annoying
when you start using that terminology. It's like there's like you're. I read that and all I hear is that you're just trying to get comments on Reddit. Like you're just trying to get like all the people that use words like that to describe kids. You're just trying to get those people to come and just start telling you you're doing everything right. Like, how dare he say such a thing to you, the mother? Like it's rough. Yeah. I mean, you've got a reason. You definitely have a reason to be upset. I'm not saying that. Like you can tell them like, yeah, I mean, you can go to them and be like, hey, pencil dick, I'm sorry you're upset, but you need to man up a little bit, right? Like I'm sorry you don't get to eat your meals. I'm sorry that things aren't working out the way you plan them, but man up. But it's not like I'm going to tell my mother. Like you're in a marriage, I think. Yeah, my husband. Yeah, you're in a marriage and you're having this kid. Like you guys need to figure it out. And sometimes, like, if he's not wearing the pants and he's going to act like a little baby and say, like, I hate my kid like the plague and not express himself completely, like maybe he's saying, like, I don't like the situation.
Right.
Then you just need to, smack him upside the head. Not really hit him, but because that'll be a bad move. But say something that shocks him, but not
That's
like,
a good thing to say to your
get
son.
out of here. Go see your therapist. Like, it's just... such a
all
weird...
the therapist fucking coordinating and typing this up on your phone on Reddit is such a waste of time. And I'm like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm like, did I mute my microphone? It's and all the like, I called this therapist and in the morning, go to your therapist and tell him what you said about your son.
Right.
I would have uppercut you through the ceiling. No, I'm just joking. But I would have laughed at you and been like,
Right.
have you ever met a person? Like, let me have a cup of coffee before you fucking demand that I go tattletale on myself. You weirdo.
And to what? To what? You know, like it's like you've got a stronger relationship with your therapist than you do your wife.
Yeah, like, and it's also like this thing. Should I go tell him all the things that like I probably shouldn't have said, but I said because it was annoying in the moment and I had to say something.
Let me ask you this. I've heard people say this before,
And maybe he did hate his baby like the plague.
Maybe. I mean, he did apologize the next. Like I thought that it was going to be like a week later he apologized. It's like update in the morning he woke up and apologized. It's like,
and then I said, go to your
just
therapist.
A normal thing. Like,
yeah, he went to bed and was like, oh, I'm an idiot, and then woke up and was like, it sucked. But it's like, okay, cool.
But still, like maybe he's got to figure out a better way to express himself too. And also get rid of all the expectations in his head. Like, I didn't think this is what being a dad would be like. It's like, well, then you didn't spend any time thinking. Like, did you not hang around like one kid?
The thing where it's like, if you can hear yourself saying, I don't get to do this in peace. I don't get to do this in peace. It's like, you shouldn't have said that out loud. Like,
I know if you hear that,
it's like that feeling when to me, I realized it when we got in the car and it was just me, Heather, and the baby. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is like it now. There's no like teacher or assistant.
Yeah, you're waiting for like a nurse to get in with you. You're like, all right, I guess the nurse will sit there.
Another
the pediatrician's like, all right, where are we going? Are we getting some food on the way?
Forever now. You know, it's like he's just coming to that now. Feels like.
Yeah.
Which
do you feel like
they didn't list ages?
Do you feel like husbands? No, they didn't have ages on that one. Do you feel like husbands and wives should be therapists to each other?
I don't even know what that means.
Like, one thing I've heard people say pretty often, it's like when they're married, they're like, well, I'm not, my husband's therapist. So like if he's having a rough day, like I'm not going to solve it. Like that's up to like a professional to solve it. You ever heard people say that? I mean, I feel like that's kind of what's being said here. Like, go see your therapist because you are beyond me right now. Being upset at not being able to sleep is ridiculous. And being upset at a child that's screaming is the first time this has ever happened in history. And I want you to realize
sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones. Like he just said it. He didn't like act. He didn't do a thing.
I don't know if he said it in front of the kid. I mean, that would be a thing to be upset at him about, but he didn't really, it doesn't say.
It's not like he said it at the kid either. Like even if he said it in front of the kid, who cares?
Yeah, it's 18-month old. I mean,
it's still pretty close.
You could still deliver it like Robin of Locksley, like, ha ha ha, right. I hate you like the plague. And the kid would be like, yay.
Yeah. I mean, but I've roasted Charlie and she didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
She just was so mean to me. I was like, oh, I'm sorry I passed on this impatience because it's definitely what you're expressing right now. Just pure impatience with life, how slow it moves.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. But new dads, like go volunteer for an afternoon at a nursery school. If you're not sure, if you think kids are going to be like smooth sailing, like it's just going to be like a little mini me that sits next to you and does everything that you want, like maybe eventually, but not like day
the funny
one.
Part. It's like they look like you. Some can sound like you, but they're not going to act like you.
Yeah.
Like they're their own thing. Like, and that's the coolest thing ever. And it's their own. It's not yours now. It's like as soon as they came out, it's like you just have to stand back because, I mean, what are we, dictators?
And again, like it's also like a kid flipping out and the guy's flipping out. So maybe in this scenario, you are getting just a reflection of yourself. So
That's another thing.
at
It's
18
it's like
months, you're
Charlie,
getting
like,
pretty close to that cloning, that monkey see, monkey do type reaction from them, where they start saying your sayings back to them. You're like, "Oop, that's me. That one's me." Like as you're going down the street, they'll like say something. You'll be like, "Oh, that one's you."
when the
That's too-
kids say it, and this kids say it back to Heather, it's like the funniest thing ever. When they like use it against her, they're like, what Charlie the other night is like, just calm down. Just calm down. To Heather as she's like trying to sneak some candy or whatever. Just calm down.
Just calm down.
It's like a human cartoon character. I'm dying, like laughing at her, so it's just like not.
It's so hard, yeah. And they're just like, I will do this forever now that I've seen a laugh occur.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It's all it takes is one. As long as it's not a dead room, keep doing it.
All right.
Yeah, just don't say that stuff about your kid. Don't use the word hate.
Yeah, definitely don't use hate, and just get in check with what you actually mean. And just say, I need a timeout. Be like, all right, I need a timeout. It's like, well, we're in the middle of this right now. It's like, I don't care. I'm
I
going to
need to
lose it.
chickadee check myself before I wreck myself because I'm bad for your health. I come real stealth. Drop
All right.
bombs into bombs, kill alarms.
Switch over to second choice because I don't know what that one is. That's all it says. Second choice.
Uh-oh. Sounds like... What's that show with Howie Mandel and the boxes?
Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal?
I do see some dollar money signs in here, so maybe
Ooh, weird.
maybe it will be like deal or no deal. My husband has been secretly two bins. My husband has been secretly giving thousands of dollars of family money to the mother of his child behind my back.
Oh, no.
He also erases the text messages so I cannot see them. Parentheses. We have an open cell phone policy. Mine will put you to sleep. In parentheses. He is not technology savvy, so he is not very fast about it. Oh my God. This woman even asked to be financed for $500,000 recently. She has been diagnosed with grandiose narcissism, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder. She is quite attractive and has had tons of plastic surgery. She is also quite promiscuous. I recently discovered my husband is a porn addict, so of course this makes me extremely uncomfortable.
God, this guy's leaving trails everywhere.
This guy,
idiot.
I mean, I'd be more worried about how stupid he is.
Yeah, really.
But then again, does he have $500,000? I mean, okay. Like, I'm really confused at this guy. He's like an idiot savant.
Asked.
I feel angry and betrayed about the erased text messages and money. We have always had a great deal of trust. I no longer trust him. He used to have nothing to do with her, but that changed this year? ? I am also angry because I feel angry because I did not choose or did not see the signs that perhaps he was still in love with her when we got married and perhaps still is. I wish I would have seen how manipulative she was and how he will never put down any boundaries. I am also concerned that was M number 2 in this saga. If I at least had all the info, I could have made a better choice and not had to put up with this underline.
Shizness.
The signs included the following: mowing her lawn, allowing her to use his house as a storage unit, getting rid of his truck but letting her keep the SUV during bankruptcy, That okay. He told me they were still having sex even after they broke up, giving her $600 more than what the state required for child support, which is admirable, but she always has a new vehicle. 200 designer jeans and plastic surgery. There is even more. He has also told me that she wanted to get married, but he said no because it would not work. But they continued to date until she broke up with him as they had different moral compasses. Shortly after we married, his sister in law told me that he asked the ex to marry him because she was perfect and beautiful, yada yada. But she said no because he likes strip clubs. This is like a Mad Libs. I'm really trying, but I'm like because he likes green beans. Like it doesn't.
Right.
That was great for my self-esteem. I had always considered myself fairly attractive, but I guess no, lol. He
Oh
was
my God.
he was furious and swore it was not true. But obviously she was right about the strip clubs, which I recently discovered. I feel like I am stuck in this miserable life as the ex will never let him go. BPD, NPD. I don't know what those. What does BPD stand for?
British Police Department.
Yeah, BPD, NPD. Usually,
New England Police Department.
usually
Nevada.
believe that they own their
Oh.
past love interests. From what I understand,
Wait, what was it again, Agnew? BP
BPD, like
by,
Betty, Patricia, Donald. BPD,
and then what was the next one?
NPD, N as in Nancy.
NPD, non-binary person. No,
No, NP,
non-binary dimension. What it? Denominational, whatever the heck the word. Canceled.
NPD. I don't know what these would be.
I mean,
feel
I
so
do have a
old.
computer.
I feel so old.
Look on my screen. You can see us. Say hi.
Oh yeah, it's delayed.
Fun. NPD. Let's look it up. There, we waved.
Hi.
It's a long wave. It's a long delay. Hey, where'd you go?
I'm gonna keep reading while you look that up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because NPDs usually believe they own their past love interests, from what I understand, and she acts like me, and the kids do not exist. I realize there is a child involved. Wrong spelling of there. But I mean the manipulation and seducing. I mean everything's wrong in this. Like there's parentheses randomly throughout this. This is written
Narcissistic personality disorder.
narcissist. Oh, and bipolar. Okay.
Damn it. I thought it had something to do with weird sex.
I mean, he will never try to get away as he is getting something out of it. And I cannot leave because she will try to get back together with him because of money, and he will gladly let her because of the sex. I don't understand that second part. You can't leave because she'll get back with him? That sounds like a him problem, not you. Do not wish her. Oh, wait, you've got children. Wait, do not wish her around my children. I have a little boy with special needs, and he is selfish, and a terrible mother.
Really little kid behavior disorder.
No. Hold on.
He's really
on.
bratty.
No. Hold on. I got to read this again. Around my children. I have a little boy with special needs, and he is selfish and a terrible mother. After some reflection, I am pretty sure that he did actually.
The kid is a selfish, terrible mother?
I am pretty sure that he did actually ask him to marry her, and I am furious. Asked him to marry her?
Right. Like, remember, she goes through the text.
This
I
needs a
bet you at some
Shostak
point.
pretense right now. Like this needs like
Oh, it needs a rewrite.
subject, verb, object. Like I need. This is going all like he asked himself.
The sentence was, he is. Wait, what was it? He's spoiled and a terrible mother.
I have a little boy with special needs, and he is selfish and a terrible mother.
Said no one ever in human history until now.
As I could have been number one in someone's life and not have to deal with this crap. I feel like she is steak and lobster, and I am a corn dog at the fair. Hey,
Well, what's wrong with that?
I mean, you can't afford steak and lobster all the time. And
You
a
can
corn
walk
dog at the
around with
fair,
a corn
like,
dog.
yeah, it's
It's
really
perfect.
I mean, it's in the beef Wellington family.
It never doesn't hit the spot.
No.
A corn dog at a fair, at a carnival.
Yeah. I'd like to see how many corn dogs are sold on the daily and how much steak and lobster are sold on the daily, right? Like
Huh. That'd be a good comparison.
per capita. LOL. If I would have paid attention, I perhaps would have seen that he was in love with her when we first got together. When we fist got together. He claimed that he was mowing the lawn, etc., for his daughter. We have been together for a little over 11 years now, and he seems devoted. We married in 11 months.
Oh, jeez.
But with this money and communication behind my back, he is putting our marriage at risk. I do not regret my babies. Now there's more? You said you have one. I do not regret my babies, but I regret him and everything that... How many babies could you have if you got together in 11 months?
I hate it when people say my babies. Say your kids, you fuck.
Actually, I hate kiddos worse. If somebody says kiddos, watch out.
I don't like kiddos. I only
No. Just
hey,
run.
kiddo.
If somebody says, like, let's get all the kiddos inside, just, like, be wary.
God.
Be wary.
You know
of
why?
that person.
It just feels like she took half a second to wind up and use that term unnaturally.
I do not regret my babies. They can't both be babies. Like, one had to grow up. Like, you're not like grandmom. You can't call them all, you're still my babies. You can't do that yet. But I regret him and everything that comes with him. I feel like this is a nightmare I can never escape because of her and my refusal to see what was going on. So what do y'all think? Am I a second choice? Are his feelings or her manipulation? She uses her kids as paws. I only play checkers. I don't know what pawns are.
You're both
well aware of this. Yeah.
half pieces.
I don't know
You know,
what
you're
I don't
both
know what
side
everybody
pieces.
is. I think you all deserve one another. Like, this is what you're writing. This is like a big sloppy mess of a salad. Like, you just put way too much dressing in it and just shook it around.
Yes.
And it's just sopping with dressing to the point where you're not tasting anything. Like,
And you're
this is
putting
just
like a
big,
paper towel on it.
sloppy mess.
I'm trying to get some of the dressing off.
You're trying.
to
Yeah,
reduce,
you're trying
even
to
though
remove
everything's soaked.
You're trying to remove the cream out of the coffee here. This is just effed up. Like, you all deserve each other. Just accept it. Just be like, all right, like, he's gonna go bang her now.
You're trying to put too much shit in the same box.
And I don't know how it goes. Like, if you've got kids with other people, like, as far as money goes, like, if you want to give more money or go cut their lawn for them and it makes his daughter's life better, like, I don't really get how that's bad. I get that, like, if he stops cutting the lawn and goes in for a lemonade, like, I understand that, but I would love to be a fly on the wall at the marriage counseling that they said they're going to at the end here. They said, we have a marriage counseling in a few weeks, but I'm unsure if it will stop his behavior.
A few weeks? Gosh, there we go.
6 months out. It's 6 months out.
Concept of time. It's like, no, it'll still be just the same in 2 weeks.
I wanted to get back to the $500,000 that she wanted to be financed. Where did that go?
He shouldn't be having some secret relationship
It
other
doesn't sound
than
secret.
payments. But he deletes messages. Isn't that it?
How do you know he
Isn't it
deletes
the same thing?
messages?
Doesn't
That's
she
what I
say
don't-
that?
Yeah, but I mean, like, how do you know if he deletes messages? Like, she says
Because
he
she
doesn't do
said-
it well.
She
So
says
he
they
either
have
does
like
it or
a
he doesn't.
shared- They have a shared text things, and she says he doesn't do it fast enough, so she can see it
So then he's not
before
erasing
he
it.
gets to it. Like before he gets to it.
But then
Or
he's
maybe
not
like-
erasing it then. That's
Maybe
what I'm
he's
trying to say.
deleting it, but not like clearing it. Because now, like you delete it, and then you have to like delete it again.
Oh, it's in like
Maybe she
the
could, like, it's in the
like,
deleted folder.
it's in the recycle bin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in that little trash can. That for some reason, when I click on mine now, it doesn't go.
Oh,
It doesn't do this.
I missed that. Oh, that was really good. Just record that and then have that happen. I do miss that. For a while, it was like a slamming door. Like it was like an AIM sign off.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd be like,
Oh,
I'm emptying, and it's like, dun-dun.
Goodbye.
I'm like, what kind of
Yeah.
trash can empties like that?
I know. Like you really slam the lid back on for the garbage men.
This was probably the worst written one I've had to read, and this is with the text being better. As you can see, I'm probably reading a lot better than I have in other episodes because it's bigger, and I'm not like squinting at it like on a screen. But
I know.
this is just. I
Well,
didn't
it
really
was-
get that your second choice. Like, it
Dude,
sounds
that
like your
is
problems
so
are
long.
worse.
She reminds me of someone I had to deal with recently, and
Were you mowing?
it
their
was
lawn?
like, no, I was helping her with her employment, and it was like red flag city. Like all the verbiage was like that, and I just was like, I'm kind of like desperation mode. Market sucks. I gotta just take what I can get.
Yeah.
And it was like my I was right, and it all fell apart, and now she's not in the hospital's like sorry. And I
Sorry.
was like, yeah, I kind of was like, yo, but you're a nurse. Once you get in the hospital, you'll like get it all together. Once you get in there, you'll just like be an awesome nurse. No,
And they've been together 11 years. So this happened. So it happened like
11
12 years
years?
ago. Yeah, no, it says they've been together. They've been together for a little over 11 years now. I missed that part. We married in 11 months. So then they were together
They
like
were together.
12 years.
Yeah,
And now he's going back to her? I don't know.
I know. How old is are there kids? Like, is
I
he
want some
still? He can't
grandiose
still be
narcissism.
saying. I was just gonna say, I'm like diagnosed with grandiose narcissism. You mean everyone?
Yeah.
She just can't like hold it in well. It's like we're all born with it. It's just like who's good at like holding it in. And
Wait, she's got-
grandiose narcissism.
Oh, and is that what NPD was? It was bipolar, and then NPD was
Narcissistic
narcissistic, and then
personality.
there's she also has HPD. So she has BPD, NPD, and HPD. I feel like these would kind of be in conflict with one another. I'm no
like
I'm
right,
no
like you can't
psychiatrist.
have them all at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I feel like it's one too many PDs.
Housing prevention and development.
I feel like you can have two, but I feel like once you get into three, you're like faking, which is a terrible thing to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't have a
think
degree.
It's kind of like you're just an idiot. What the heck is HPD?
I don't know what histrionic. I don't remember that.
Oh, histrionic.
Histrionic personality disorder. I want to look that up. Histrionic.
A chronic mental condition that causes people to act in a dramatic and emotional way to get attention. See,
Yeah, attention seeking,
disorder.
exaggerated emotion display. I mean, like it probably is. It's
The
just
internet.
that everybody in the world is doing this right now. discomfort
Everyone on the
without
internet.
attention. Yeah.
Everyone taking a selfie today has HPD.
People with HPD may use overtly flirtatious or seductive behavior to manipulate others and gain attention.
It's an influencer. Well, not necessarily. Histrionic just means overly theatrical or melodramatic.
Mm.
Or concerning actors or acting. So yeah, they're just always putting on a.
So it's main
A
character disorder. It's like main
They're always
character.
cutting promos.
Okay, what's
it's
the
all
difference
wrestling.
here? So it says verse. So there is a difference between the two. Let's see. Between HPD and BPD. HPD is motivated by a desire for attention and validation, while BPD is primarily motivated by a fear of abandonment and rejection. She probably doesn't have BPD then. The way you're describing her, it sounds like she's got HPD.
Oh, but BPD, if she has a fear of abandonment, she keeps like stringing him along.
Yeah. All right.
Borderline purse. So yeah, you could be like borderline a weirdo because you can't act. You can't act.
It does say HPD and BPD often co-occur.
Coincide.
With some experts suggesting that HPD may not be distinguishable from BPD due to the significant overlap in symptoms. So it's like if you get one, you get both.
Right. Like when people are like ADD and ADHD, I'm like, I mean, whatever.
Just go ride a bike. Go ride a bike and fly a kite. All right. Either get out of the situation or lean into it is my conclusion for this one. Either completely leave the situation and just become another BPD, NPD ex-wife for this guy, and he'll cut your grass and send you money, or just lean into it and just know that she's part of it and just be an adult and kind of like sit down and be like, all right, like we need to figure this out. Like he's doing, like I would have a conversation with both of them. Again, don't throw this to like a therapist to fix. I would just be like, all right, like you two are texting. You two, I hope you're not making out, but I guess you are. That's gross. Like we're married. Like, should we be married? Like, do you want me to be like another divorce that just sits on the side? Like, is this not going to stop? Like, I don't know. Just talk about it like you're adults instead of just being like she's treating it like it's like this lady is his problem amongst all of his other problems, and she doesn't like his problems. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you're married, so you're the same person. So now you need to go.
Right. Yeah.
And figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, it's 11 years. Like, how are you just getting here now? Like, what the hell?
I mean, maybe it just started. Maybe it just started up again, But.
Well, the only way you'll find out, the only way you'll get to the bottom of this is my dog. Communication.
Here's a short one. Wife is exhausted.
I bet.
Oh.
Married to a guy who posts to Reddit.
My wife, 29 female, and I, 32 male, have 4 children with the ages 7, 5, 2, and 10. You just couldn't keep it. Oh, no, 10 months. Sorry. Okay. My wife always...
I was like, why? Why out of order?
I did that. That was almost like the... what's his name? The Kevin... King of Queens guy. His joke when they do the phone number.
Oh, yeah. 732. 4, 6.
16? Yeah.
19.
I
think I got too many numbers.
I think I got too many numbers. My wife always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and she always wanted to have a lot of kids. After some talks, we have decided that 4 is enough. My wife is just plain exhausted, and I don't know how to give her some relief. I am a very involved dad, and I basically work 40 hours per week. Couldn't find a job. Yeah, unless you wanted to work 40 hours a week.
Not a single job in this town.
And when I'm off work, I come home and help the kids until they are in bed. My wife does most of the cooking, cleaning, and laundry, while I help with meals for the children, work, and also do most of the lawn care. I don't know exactly how to help my wife. I get up at night with the. This sounds like this. This isn't going well so far.
Is this?
I'm gonna.
I do
this-
everything. I do everything too.
I wake up. I rub her feet. I make her Earl Grey tea in the morning. I stay up late while the children throw up and vomit all over me, and I clean it all up by morning, where I
Is that
make
really-
her an avocado toast. And
Are you making this up?
no, yeah, I'm making that up. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm just.
I was like, no.
No, but that's what it sounds like. It's
I know because I was
I
like,
work
this is
really
believable.
hard. I come home.
I know. Yeah, I rub her feet. I make Earl Grey.
I mean, that sounds like where he's going to go. I get up at
Come
night
on.
with the 2-year-old. Now I'm really reading it. I get up at night with the 2-year-old if she's up, and we are sleep training the 10-month-old right now, which is going pretty well. She does not want a babysitter or a nanny, and we don't have a lot of family help. I can tell that being home with the kids is just weighing on her and affecting her mental health. Should be affecting. Whenever I offer to take her responsibilities, she will not really let me, except for when I do the school lunches for the children. By the time I'm done with work, she has most of the chores done before I can help. I'm wondering if there are any moms out there who have this experience and can identify for me what would be the most helpful thing I could do for her. I ask, and she cannot really identify anything. I know she wants more of a social life, and I am more than happy to stay home with the kids, but I cannot force the social aspect of her life for her. I know I'm not a perfect husband or dad. Oh, God, shut up. I'm not a perfect husband or dad. I know there is more that I can do.
Difference.
But I don't want to just start trying stuff to see what helps. Any advice would help. Appreciate it.
'Cause that never works. Just start trying stuff.
Thank you to edit. Thank you to everyone for advice, except the few who are really concerned about me getting a vasectomy. Right now, my wife is scheduled to take the afternoon tomorrow, and we will have a talk tonight about relieving the chores for her and implementing more time for herself. I am actively building out the she shed.
I mean, dude, what the fuck? You have 4 kids. Your wife's going to be exhausted until they're like teenagers.
She's like,
You
I'm
idiot,
fine.
and you had 2 brand new ones recently.
My wife is tired after taking care of 4 kids. When I come home, okay.
Yeah,
And he's like, do you need anything? She's like, no, I'm good. He's like,
I can't
she's
think of
so
anything.
exhausted.
Like, unless you can get rid of all these kids or hire another mom. But like, that's the deal. That's the role. That's the assignment.
That's it.
Exhaustion.
I mean, you could just start with like, rubber feet. Like, just start simple.
For real.
Like, don't overthink it.
Like at the end of the day, before she's like going to bed or when she's going to bed, that foot rub, man, it like scientifically will help her. Like, even if she's like, no, I don't like it, then do it lightly. Whatever pushing on the bottom of your feet like triggers all this chemical reaction in your body that like will chill you out.
It's like a sandwich for us. I mean, honestly, like, probably wouldn't mind a foot rub either. But I mean, yeah, just try that. That's like my number one thing to tell people. Like, when they're like, I don't know what to do. It's like, just go rub her feet. Like, are you in a fight? Go rub her feet. Like, just rub her feet. Like,
I know. Even after like the fight has just ended, if she's like sitting down, sit down next to her and pull her foot on your lap.
Yeah.
Because you're stronger than her and you can do that. She can't stop you.
If she doesn't, just get her in an ankle lock and then rub her foot.
Yeah, right. Use 2 hands and make her tap like Kurt Angle.
But yeah, I mean, like, you can't think of one thing. And the part where he says you can't force social stuff, you can. It's called planning. You call her friends You plan a night out,
There's events
then-
going on all the time.
and then you cover, and then you say, go out. You're hanging out with your friends, and that's it. And she leaves. So you did force it.
Yep. And also, that's another thing that, like, it's like that love language thing. It's like, you're doing a lot of shit, man. Like, the stuff that you said is legit dad stuff, and that's good. There's nothing else you can do. And it's like, you're kind of like probably leaning into pissing your wife off if you keep asking, because you're pointing out how exhausted she is. Just appear
look
as
tired.
exhausted as her. Like, play along, like do something to, like, just be like, oh yeah, I'm wiped too. Because you should be. Forced kids, and you're like the hero and everything. That's tiring.
Yeah, you're the savior.
You got to, like, talk yourself into socializing after a day of regular dadding and momming.
But you're right too. Like if you're going up to her every 5 minutes and be like, "You look tired," like,
Yeah, dude, that's
do you
annoying.
need something? Sometimes I make a mistake, and I've learned to correct this. But for a while, I did it where I would try to do something nice and relaxing, but it would come out of me like a command. So, like, like if she was tired, I'd be like, "Go to bed. Go to bed. I'll do the dishes and clean up down here. Just go to bed. Go rest." And it would be
And she's
like,
like, "Wow."
and I
I'm
thought I
like,
was being like, "Hey, just tap out. Like leave.
right. You're like,
whatever.
go. Like, you don't have to hang. I'll do it. I got it.
Yeah, I got the
You're
kids.
off.
I got bed.
Walk out.
You just go lay down." But it turns out I was
It's like
actually
your
being
mom.
demanding, and it doesn't sound nice.
Like your mom, I like remember your mom was like, eat the rest. And I was like, but immediately I was like, she's Italian, and that's just her saying, eat the rest. Like, you can have the rest. Because I remember your whole family would always get up from the dinner table. And I was like, there's 5 chicken cutlets left. There's a whole cucumber sliced up and a lot of ranch that someone has to finish.
Right.
And your mom was always like, eat it or finish it. And I was almost like, oh, awesome. But you know what I mean? That initial, like, go is almost like, don't boss me.
I think that's the problem. Yeah, I think I have that in me where I'm trying to be nice, but I'm like, go to bed, put your feet up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Chill out. Shut the fuck up.
Comes
Take off your bra if you'd like.
relax. Let them fly. All right. So
Yeah, man, just it's okay. She's gonna be exhausted.
and try like I don't understand that I won't try things. I want to know what works first. That's not how this game works. Do you see how we're doing a podcast right now? Do you see how we're like talking about these things and talking about all the things we've done wrong? Yeah. We still don't know.
One of the greatest, smartest comedians of all time, Chris Rock. You are the tambourine man, and just be the tambourine man. Just be there, but don't try to be like any other instrument or the lead singer or anything like that. Just be there.
So, and just start small. Just do like massages, foot rubs.
Yeah, dude, that foot rub is priceless. It's gold,
Yeah.
Jerry. Gold.
Gold. All right. We've got. I think we only have one more because we did nagging, we did second choice, we did wife is exhausted, we hate like the plague, and that one 2-year-old behavior isn't one. That's one from last show. Remove.
Hate like the plague.
And we've got my kid makes me regret having kids.
Oh
man,
what the hell? So my kid makes me regret having kids. So, like, are you?
I don't know what else would. What else would?
But wait, did you have?
It's like the TV show I watched makes me regret having kids.
And this new kid, right? This new kid makes you hate having all of them, or are you just saying kids as in like you have more than one, but you really don't? You're just generalizing.
Let's find out.
That's what I want to know.
It's a good thesis.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing to say. It's like don't say you have kids. You don't. You have kid.
I would never admit this in real life or IRL, the TV show. But my baby is driving me crazy, and I feel awful to admit that I honestly regret having kids now. I tried to for kids. I guess I tried to have kids for 6 years and finally got pregnant last year. I think you're onto something here, John. We knew something was wrong when he was a newborn and started showing intense signs of colic. Fast forward to 10 months, and he still spends every second he's awake crying and screaming. Now, with added thrashing, kicking, hair pulling, and temper tantrums, he's literally pulling chunks of hair out of head, out of his head, I guess, in his anger fits.
Oh,
And I've got bruises all over from where, or maybe out of her head. I
her
don't know.
head.
Somebody's
Out of
hair is
my
getting
head.
pulled out.
Out of head.
And, and I've got, I'm sorry to laugh. And
House knows.
I've got bruises all over from where he's kicked or punched me. I have chronic headaches and went to the ER twice from fainting from being so tired all the time taking care of him. Everything is a fight. He hates literally everything. I don't know if he's hating things. Heaven forbid I try to put him in a clean diaper or change his outfit. How dare I try to? Oh, this hurt my stomach.
God.
This is starting to hurt my stomach. How dare I try to wipe his face or feed him? Forget leaving the house. He just has a major breakdown the second I try to go anywhere. I'm so sick of it. I'm tired of being isolated, of having a little creature scream at me 24/7. I thought it would get better.
This kid stumbles upon our video.
I thought it would get better, but it keeps getting worse. I feel like I'm drowning, and most days I wish I could just go back in time. I feel like an awful mother, and I want to love him all the time, but I just don't understand why he hates me and everything so much. I'm so tired.
Because you run to Reddit to talk shit about him.
He's 10 months old.
You're
How can
getting it back in time. Yeah, he's going to suck for the next year. He'll slowly get better, but don't be a dumb, weak pushover. Stand your ground. Blah 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 blah. Be a pillar. But like, I swear, man, it's like there's times where you wanna be another person because that's the only option that there is. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
you're like it lasts a microsecond because you've accepted when you get in that car, when you leave the hospital, that this thing is just gonna it's gonna bring you to your knees and try to keep you there. But what you need to show them is that you can get back up. You can get hit and keep getting hit and
Well,
keep getting back. Move forward.
It's about, yeah. I mean, I'm wondering if she's got postpartum depression.
Well, obvious. Well, yeah.
I mean,
I feel like they all do, on some degree, have to have some sort of depression because they're one way for 10 months and then suddenly they're not. How can you just be like, cool, let's do it?
What do you mean, the baby or the mom?
The mom.
Yeah.
It's such a change, but it is their design.
But she's calling him like a little creature and
Yeah, she sounds like the
all
dad who
this
says,
sarcasm, like how dare I try to wipe his face? It's like he's 10 months.
God
Like, what?
forbid I change his poop.
Uh,
What do you mean, God forbid you change his diaper? You probably waited too long and it stings. So it just hurts. That was one thing where I was like, my nose just is better, I guess, because they've been sitting in shit for 6 hours.
yeah.
I'm like checking every half hour at that stage. I don't want them to sit in their own poop, their own human waste, their own fecal matter. Their own dung.
Well, half the problem is getting them to poop too. I mean, at
That
least
can
for
be
us,
tricky
it
too.
was really tough. It was
Yeah,
like
you're like, keep drinking.
Metamucil and all that stuff like that.
Luckily, Hannah was a strawberry freak, so slipped right through.
No, for us, it was like he would hold on to it for like a week, and then poop out like a football, like a full inflated college football.
Like, was it painful?
I don't know. It didn't even make sense. Like the laws of physics did not make sense. It would just all of a sudden be there and be like, how did this?
I was
And
squeezing out all the nutrients.
no, but I mean, like you would think it would come out like in a like a string, like Play-Doh. You know, like if I put it on the star setting, it comes out as a star the whole way. It doesn't all of a sudden become like a large, like it's not like there's
star.
it doesn't form its own gravity and start pulling itself in on itself, right? Like so,
right? Yeah, it doesn't reshape.
So when you go in and you check, and it's like, how is it a ball? Like I don't like it's like a perfect sphere. And I'm like, I don't even.
You're like, how did a square come out of this circle?
One time, yeah. One time Leo went, like, we went on a hike. We were on vacation. We were on a hike, and that was the time. Like he hadn't gone for like 4 days or something like that. And then he went, and it was like a softball. It was like a baseball. I took it out, like, and it was fully formed. So I picked it up with like a leaf, and I just launched it into the woods and just threw it in, because we didn't have any diapers. We were like in the middle of a hike. Yeah. It's with the raccoons and all that. Like every
yeah, there's nutrients in there. They'll figure it out.
They'll dig. They'll test.
But they dig. They test.
I don't get the. I don't want to call her like a bad mother. Like I feel like you're in a state of depression. I don't understand if there's. I guess there's no husband. It also, again, like you said, it's one kid. So to regret having kids is a bit much, but you're having trouble. You're having a troublesome kid, and if he's colicky, so like that sucks. You know, that sucks.
She's like fast forward, and I'm like, fast forward. He's not even one yet. Like the colic shit lasts, for like a while. Like they're miserable for like a year and a half. Like
I just get worried about the part where she's blaming him. We're like you're being sarcastic to a 10-month-old. Like, oh, so sorry. Like, so sorry you won't finish your dinner. You know, it's like, what?
Like she expects the kid to behave like an adult or something.
Well, she's expecting the kid to like show respect to her. And I hate to break it to you, that comes and goes. Like that's not an everyday thing. Even when they're able to talk and communicate, you're not getting that respect.
They're like cats.
Yeah.
They're like cats. It's like when they come and want to sit on your lap, let them and pet them. But other than that, just kind of
don't make a big deal about it. Just act normal.
Right. Don't be like, hello, because then they'll fucking scratch you.
Heaven forbid I try
to put
him
voice away from me.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid I put him in a clean diaper. Yes, you dumb. He's a dog, not even a dog. He's just like a brain that's just like learning stuff. It doesn't even know what you're doing, but you know it has to be done.
It's kind of
you
like
just gotta like barrel through it. Yeah, right. Like I don't get to eat in peace. I never get to eat in peace. Yeah, but if you're smart enough, you can get those moments of peace.
Or like just at least he understood.
Like what you revolve the whole day around.
But he understood the next day that it was like, all right, I was actually upset at the situation. Like I want to sleep, and everything was keeping me up.
He didn't write to Reddit.
No, he didn't. To be fair, he didn't. Yeah, maybe he did. I just didn't pick his.
Right, we didn't get to him. Yeah.
He's like, my wife completely, his would be like, my wife completely overreacted to what I said. I don't even know what a plague would be like.
It's from that movie.
Watch it be a quote. He's like, it's just a quote from my favorite movie. I was just quoting Anchorman. I just quoted it wrong.
hate it like the plague. Like I know it's from
I
something.
meant milk was a bad choice. I'm like, oh,
A kid was a bad choice.
yeah.
That's what I said.
I was just joking. See what happens to your dog now.
But I think it's pretty normal, especially at this stage, and especially if you're by yourself. Because she didn't mention dad. I think there's moments
Yeah.
where you're like the boredom is close to maddening and quite torturous, and there's no end in sight. But
I mean the physical stuff too.
it's not about you, as Jacob said. It's not about you, or no, what about you? That's not it.
Yeah, right. What about you? But I mean, like you get, you know, I remember holding the kids like when they were throwing tantrums and stuff and getting kicked in the nuts. And it's not like I had happy thoughts of them in that moment, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, they just when they're that age, they're just so boring and so useless and helpless, and all you can do is just fucking keep trying different shit until something sticks, and then
Yeah.
repeat that over and over, because repetition is like how they form solid neural pathways to like remember things in their brain. That's why they watch the same thing goes over and over and say the same words over and over.
But
You just got to find the one. It's easy because it works every day.
but she can't be she can't be like whatever this this heaven forbid, how dare I attitude.
I know.
This little creature, this attitude can't be presented to the kid. If you want to go complain to your support people, like your friends, your neighbors, like other
IRL.
adults, you want to talk like that, like get it out of your system, that's fine. But if you're saying it in front of the kid, like you got to treat this like Ghostbusters too. Like you can't talk that way to the slime, right? Like
Yeah, true. You're going to turn it into Vigor the Carpathian.
yeah. I mean, that's really who you're going to raise here. So, like the kid's obviously going through something, can't express himself. You can't hold that against them.
Her opening line, I would never do this in real life.
I would never admit this in real life.
Admit this in real life. I'm like,
what are we in?
You're like that opener. I was just like, uh-oh, because there is only real life. It doesn't matter if you're doing it, it's done and it's happened. On the internet or out loud or on paper.
It's like I'm scared of my real social people know it. Like this is anonymous, right?
Yeah.
So she's saying like if I was going to like my friends, I wouldn't say this to my friends. But I think if they're really your friends, you should say this.
I know.
If they're really your friends, you should be like, I'm having a rough time. Like that's the thing I don't get when people are like, I can't say that to my friends. It's like, well, then who are they?
They're not your friends.
People you drink with?
You don't know what friends are then, I think.
Yeah. Like friends.
You tell people those things.
There's two modes for friends. One is really like being supportive for things like this or telling you when you're an ass. Those are like the two main gears for friends.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you're just kind of shooting the shit and remembering good times. But the real thing is like, oh, well, like that sucks. Like try this, right? But also if I was your friend and I was reading this, I'd be like, and you got to cut this shit out. Like just cut this right out of your head. And if you're really thinking this, like now, like this would actually be a situation where I'd be like, if you're really thinking this, then you might have postpartum depression and maybe you need medication or maybe you need to go talk to somebody who's better than me. Because
went to school.
You shouldn't be like, I get that you could say like, oh, before I had kids, things were easier. That's one way to think about it. But when you're like, this little creature screams at me for like little creature, like the fuck.
Yeah.
This thing is half you. So you're part of that little creature. Congratulations.
Calling your own kid little creature is stupid.
Unless it's cute. Unless you're like,
and it's
little
just
creature.
Really, and it's just like, get off of here. Like doing this on a anonymous message board is like halfway. Like, talk to another mom, because guess what?
Yeah.
They're right there with you.
Yeah.
You're not unique in this experience.
I
You're one
love
of a zillion.
it's only good when you're talking about the negative. Like I don't really enjoy it, like Costanza says,
Commiserate,
right?
yo.
Like if everything's going great, shut up about it, right? Like I don't want to hear about like everything that's going great in your relationship. I only want to hear what's going wrong in your relationship, right? Like if it's going well, great, good for you,
Then
but
shut up about it.
but you really need to commiserate with these things because a lot of it's stressful. Like there's a couple down the block that are about to have their first kid and they're nervous about it and stuff like that, and we've been trying to get them, like we've also been trying to like offload a lot of our like old baby stuff to them, but
Yes.
but because it's like you can't really, like, you don't really want to sell it, like it just needs to go to like another mom.
No, yeah, they pass it on.
And but we were talking with her the other night about like all the stuff that comes up with doctors before you have the baby, and it's like all just like this negative shit, like even before you have the kid. And they don't really tell people this, but like even before you have the kid, it's like they test the baby for this, and they're like, all
Here's
right, well, now we're going to test the
everything
baby for
to
Down
scared
syndrome, or we're
of.
going to test the baby. It's like, and what happens then, right? And like we're going to test the baby to make sure that their legs are there. We're going to test that they have fingers, that they're like, it's just like they don't really test that, but it's like
Scary.
they do all these like scare tests on the baby, and they're like checking the fluid. I remember the one doctor was like yelled at Kelly the one time, like when she was pregnant with Leo, and was like, have you been eating cake? You're like, your sugar's really high. And like Kelly's like, her main diet was like kale and sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts, like that way. Like she's like, you've been eating too much cake. And Kelly's like, I haven't had any cake. And she's like, no, you definitely have. I'm looking at your numbers right here. Like acute, like trying to like get her to snap and like a detective. And I was standing right there. I'm like, no, she hasn't had cake. Like, and she would tell you if she did. I don't
Shut the fuck up.
But like all
Let
these
her
things
eat
that they do. And
no, I remember before I rode a jet ski, the instructor, before like the jet skis came back and were ready from the other people renting them, this guy told us like a horror story about how this like young couple on their honeymoon bumped jet skis and they both died. And I was like, I don't want to go on now. Give me my money back and I'll take my life and go back to the beach. I was like, worst salesman of all time.
he was like, somebody had offered him twice as much, like down the block. He just had to free up a jet ski real quick, and it was just a real. He's like, well, yeah, no, this is the one. This is the memory maker. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
This is the Black Widow
consummate
jet ski. Yeah,
the consummator.
The consummator. Yeah. This is the Beetlejuice. But yeah, it was. But like these things are crazy, so you have to be able to share the negative, like with everything, not just kids, but you move into a house, like go talk to somebody else with a house. It's you all have horror stories, like someone's like, oh, like my deck was a little uneven. I'm like, oh, what? It used to rain in our windowsills when we first moved in here, like rain in the windowsills, like drip every windowsill.
We had 3 holes in our ceiling that had to be like chopped open and repaint. The whole house was
it's it's like once you talk with somebody else about it, like you feel better. Like it's like misery loves company, right? And you can be miserable. You can be miserable about your kids, but you can't be miserable at your kids.
And if you think it's only supposed to be awesome all the time, just remember that that's also not normal. So when it's bad, it's just normal.
Everything's an opportunity. But everything's an opportunity. So you could look, and it's hard to do, and I don't succeed at it all the time, but you could look at it as another opportunity. Like if you want to look at it at every screaming match as a challenge that you might be able to overcome and get a little bit better at, That's how you can approach it, or it can be hell on earth. Your choice.
Right.
So it can be
Right.
like,
You
oh,
can,
let
you
me
can
see.
lose.
Yeah.
You can choose to lose to an infant.
Right.
Think about that. Come on.
Right.
This is just a battle of the wills. And if you're being defeated daily, whew, take a look in the mirror.
Or stop doing the same thing. And definitely don't come at it with sarcasm. Like, I am trying to put you in a new outfit.
Yeah, like don't expect
not
it to
gonna do it.
work right away. Just keep trying, throwing shit at the wall, and something will stick. He's not an animal.
Shit
He's a
that's
man.
wrong.
He's just a boy.
I'm a man.
Put on fucking Mickey Mouse or something.
You know who else is a man? I'm
Me.
a man.
I'm a man.
I'm
Elaine Bennis. We get a lot of calls for you.
That's the same episode, isn't it? That's the
Dude, did you see? Yes, same guys. Did you see the trailer for the Pharrell movie?
yeah. That was before this one. Yeah, the
Oh, it's the
Lego one.
longest trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was like, is
it
this still the same thing? What is this a commercial? Like, I was so confused and angry.
I was so confused at what it
Snoop
was. I'm
wasn't
like,
in it.
who's the audience? Like,
It's a biopic with like in Lego.
but is it like a kid movie, or is it like is Snoop
know,
Dogg gonna
because-
have a blunt? Like, I don't understand.
I know.
You know
know,
what I
it's like-
mean? I'm like,
It did like almost bump into like very dangerous people in the music industry. I was like, oh, they're a Lego. That's crazy.
that's interesting.
Like Pharrell, he grew up on the streets. But
Yes, I don't know. I don't know if they're just like lightening it up or what's
It
gonna.
was too long. It was just too long.
It was
the
really
the one movie looks so crazy with the guy. God, I always forget his damn name. It's like something pretty common, but he was in Split.
Oh, McAfee, the
Yeah.
Xavier. Yeah. He also played.
Oh
Charles.
right, yeah. He was young Charles.
I thought he was actually going to be in it because since he was in the preview, I thought maybe it was like a keyword.
yeah.
I thought that he was going to show up in this one.
He's in a new movie that looks so crazy.
Yeah, it
These
looks like
two
such a simple sentence. They're like, all right, ready? Here we go. Here's my pitch. Airbnb, but there's a family there that's ready to kill you. And they're like, go. Like,
Who can we
go make
get?
it.
Who can play insane? Really good. And then
I liked it all the way up until the
and then
very
Falcon.
last scene when they showed him, because he played it like I would have played it. And I think he should have gone a more Jack Nicholson route. Instead, at the very last
Oh,
moment
right.
when they're like, I don't know what they said to him, like, you're so kind or something like that.
Mhm.
And he's like, and he like smiles, but then he like kind of like closes like his mouth and then like smiles again, like he's like ready to bite you or something.
I know. Like
I feel like he
overdid.
I feel like he
I was like,
overdid it there. Yeah.
Come on. Like that was. I was like adjusting something when that happened, and I was like, yeah, it was a little overdone. There.
It was a little
Could've
over.
pulled it back a tad on the.
We were so close. We were so close in that moment too. It should have just been like, yeah, and just let your eyes
I know,
become
like
like
almost
blank. You know, yeah,
Yeah, maybe just do all the eyes, just stare.
or just keep it like a Jack Nicholson like face, like yeah, you know, like just like he's actually wearing a mask instead of fighting some
of Ace Ventura.
yeah. But but when they're all having lunch and he's like, and now what do you have to say? I'm like, oh God.
And when he's yelling at the kid who's like,
and he's
not doing
Kelly
it right,
like
I was like,
Kelly like almost threw up when he like hugged her and kissed the neck, like he was like kissing her neck goodbye. Kelly was like, ugh.
I know. I
Like,
bet you
yeah.
that's what it looks like. It's like one of those movies where I'm gonna see it, but the whole time I'm gonna be like, oh no, and like closing my eyes and not looking.
Yeah, it was cool editing though. I will give M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know if I hate him or I admire him sometimes. Like I can't
I know.
figure
Sometimes
it
he's
out.
like, yeah, he's like that guy that I'm like, he's still doing it. And then I watch his stuff and I'm like, but he's still fucking annoying me. You're not Hitchcock. Just stop it.
That's what that you know what I think that's what annoys me the most. I feel like he's trying to be
just
Hitchcock.
so
Like he's
heavy.
like I'm gonna put myself in every one of them.
And it's not even that, dude. It's these camera shots that don't have a purpose other than they're a cool camera shot.
Yeah.
And his daughter did it too, and I was just like, if it's like, from the point of view of somebody small, like put it on the ground and roll it, not just put it on the ground and roll it.
Well,
it's just, he's from PA, so I always check out his crap.
But he's from PA, but he also treated like Bucks County like it was just a bunch of farmers. Like, all right, we live in Doylestown. Time to head to town. Like, what? That's not how.
Oh, right. Oh, and signs
in Bucks County. Yeah.
Really? Oh, I don't
Yeah.
remember that. Oh, I forgot about that. They were like on a farm.
Yeah, they were like out on a farm.
Wow.
Everybody forgets about Doylestown. Anyway.
Doylestown's like old money. Hanging on.
Yeah.
Like the houses out there, they're not like neighborhoods. They're just like houses.
I feel like everything's just going to become a city soon. Like everything's just going to be built out and
I know.
It's going to be city. And then everyone's
see that giant wall in like Saudi Arabia or something? It's like this wall city apartment complex.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Sort of invisible.
There's some like, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or something like that. There's something where they're talking about like, I'm going to get all of this wrong, all of it wrong. But I think it's like
your worst.
The Swedish farmers, like they're slowly pushing them off their land to build some sort of like super city that like all of the Illuminati and like the
baby blood
Masons
drinkers
and like
they're
like
the people from Dan Brown books,
the stone like the Dan Brown villains basically.
Dan Brown character
are all getting together and they're gonna make they're planning to make like some super city
Brown villain
that becomes like, that was the perfect way to put it. Yeah, they're Dan Brown villains. Every Dan Brown book, like if you read them back to back, you realize he went on vacation. That's all it is.
Blueprint.
All it is he went on vacation. He took like a food tour and like a historical tour. He scribbled it all down, and then he just wrote some story that goes around all those places. Like it reads like you're on like a tour. Like
it just moves. It moves like a road trip movie. Like you're just in a different thing, and then a thing happens, and then you're into a different thing, and then another thing happens.
Yeah,
and then,
but it only happens at these really interesting places.
Relative.
It won't just happen on some quiet alley. No, it's going to the Louvre, and now we're going directly to St. Peter's Square.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's like Wonders of the World.
Yeah. Yeah, you run out of Dan Brown stuff quickly, but it's still good. It's still fun,
cool, fun reads.
It feels like you went on vacation too, so it's not.
Yeah,
once you read it, you don't really have to go.
But what he did with that genre that he kind of, everyone was like, well, wait, is that real? Because he's referencing real things. Like it was kind of neat what he did.
He did mix things up a little bit with people like, is there really a room like that there? Is there like,
and even that whole like measurement thing where it's like, no matter what, it's the same number for, I can't, here's me trying to explain math. I guess that's what it is. Like it's like PI or PHI. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
I remember.
For me to explain a math thing that I read in a book 20 years ago.
It's like he read one science article and then he went on vacation to like a famous city. So it's like famous city, special science thing that's happening in science right now. And then some religious guy who's whipping himself. Like they just take those three things. And then like an old professor with a daughter, and like we're golden,
right?
Yeah. And then like he gets pulled in, he doesn't expect to do it, and then the whipping
Right.
guys chasing him,
Reluctant hero.
and meanwhile, this secret technology is about to wipe out the Earth. Which he wasn't far off, right? Like, I mean, he said that like they released a neurotoxin in the one that then would cause nobody to have any babies,
Oh yeah.
which is the same theory as like all the COVID vaccines and stuff.
Oh God. We're humans.
I mean, they already released it. It was called Mountain Dew.
I know. I was just, dude, that was like the thing. I'm like, wow. All these genius scientists who like all they do is like study this stuff. They're like, yeah, this will help with the thing. They're like, no, it's gonna kill our babies. I'm like, no, that's what we eat all day. That's gonna kill our babies. And the stuff that we feed them.
Right. Yeah. All this processed food is perfectly fine.
You know, those pretend nutrients. This orange that's white when you cut it open.
Actually, one thing my dad saw, like he went down to a place in Mexico once for business and went to the place where they make all the flavors and coloring for food. And they had this vat that was all like
What
almost,
company was this?
I don't know the name of the company. It was like the 80s or something. He was just down there.
Oh, it was in the 80s.
It was like a secret. It's like the place where everybody would get their flavors. Like you'd get the flavor for Burger King burgers,
The distributor of flavors.
of
The
flavors,
artificial flavor.
all the artificial stuff was getting done there. And
The
and
artificial flavor warehouse.
and one of the things was they had the coloring for orange juice
Silly Wonka's
because like
flavor factory.
yeah, exactly. Because after they pressed the orange juices, all the oranges, and made orange juice, like it would be a bit like yellow. It wouldn't really be orange. It would be more yellow.
Oh, right, because the juice is yellow.
And then after it sits for a while, it would all settle and then become this like kind of pasty white color. And so they were like, so we have to add orange into it so everybody will like drink it and buy it on the shelves. Otherwise they'll look at it and think it's like some weird, like decayed lemonade or something like that. They're like, but this is what it naturally does.
Right, we needed the orange juice to be orange. It's like,
but yeah,
right.
it was like Wonka. They would like hand them like little spoonfuls of like powder, and you'd like taste it, and it would be like roast beef and gravy, or it would be like
cherry,
like a burger
lollipop.
Yeah, it's gross.
Blueberry muffin, steak and potato.
Ecto Cooler.
Well, don't call your kid a beast or a creature. Ecto Cooler was amazing. God, it was so good, and it was cool, but it was good.
It was good and cool, but it was never enough. Whatever was in that little box.
I remember when we got older, they did it. Maybe it was like they re-released them, but they were like bigger boxes, and I was like, it's just still not enough though. Like
they were like wide boxes, right? Like they were like really wide.
Oh yeah, they did have those with the Slimer on it. Yeah, they were like wider.
Did they have the Ecto Cooler with remember those plastic bottles we had with the rip tops? Like they were shaped kind of like Coke bottles, but they were like plastic. They were like crushers or something. I forget what they were called. But
yeah, like
it was like high C, but you could like rip the top, and then you'd have to like, and it was probably like half as much.
And it was like all plastic.
Yeah, it was like a huge waste. It was like super thick plastic.
And it was just, you know what it was, dude? It was like the flavoring they put on like, those Hawaiian shave ices. It was just that liquid, and you just drank it straight.
Yeah.
The like, pixie stick equivalent. What is up with this freaking microphone?
It's
a limp.
Yeah, you might need a hex wrench.
But then when I flip it, it won't stay down. I'm like, I have something wrong. The settings are just off.
Yeah, I think the main arm is wrong. Like I think the one attached to the desk isn't tight enough. Like where it's attached to the desk, and then it's straining the other arms. But
well,
yeah, you dig.
We're about at our time.
Yeah, I'm ready. That was fun.
That was great, brother.
I will try
Go
to
see Wolverine
and even see
and
Deadpool.
go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
See them both twice.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe.
But yeah, we really
Hit the
need to start telling people to do that.
Tell your grandparents. We'll see you next week. Austin's on fire. We gotta go.